Whoa, hi, hello. Welcome back everybody to yet another daily cooking stream, yet another episode of the Daily Cooking Show. I hope you're all having a beautiful Friday today. Hi, if you're watching this live, it is currently 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I have a new haircut, as you may notice. I'm still getting used to it. I'm still getting adjusted to it. It's probably going to get all over the microphone. I'm going to be adjusting it a million different times, so please excuse me. Please excuse me if I end up doing that a little bit. Hello to everybody. It's good to have all of you here. Hello to John. Hello to Dosky. Hello to Sunny Peach Crush. Hello to Trash Can Cat Mom, Tarina Chess, Holkin Dosky, Kaze. Hello. Hi. I'm happy to have all of you. I missed you all so much. Also, hello to Alt GOW. Thank you, WW. Nice little new haircut, going for something quite different. I haven't had bangs in 3.5 years, much less a wolf cut. I've also realized that it is already fairly sweaty in my kitchen, and so I will now do the liberty of turning on the air conditioner really quickly so it doesn't get too warm. And also, thank you so much to Moonha for the sub. Thank you. It's lovely to have you. Also, hello to Jack as well. I'm pretty excited about today's stream. Hello to Zio. Don't want to forget about you at all. And hello to Your Ears Perked Up. Hi. So, I missed you guys. I missed all of you so much. Today, we'll be doing something pretty exciting. We'll be doing one of my favorite Indian dishes. We'll be doing today a beautiful Palak Paneer. And a Palak Paneer, for those of you that have not been initiated yet, is this essentially really beautiful spinach curry. Spinach and cheese curry, right? Palak is spinach and paneer is cheese. I'll be walking through, guys, how to make your own homemade cheese today. It'll be really delicious. It'll be really tasty. It's something that I'm just getting into. I've only made cheese now like 2 times before. And so we'll be doing a fresh cheese today, and we'll be putting it into the curry, these lovely, like soft, tender little cubes. We'll also have, of course, the pureed spinach. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be spicy. We're going to be serving it with, of course, a turmeric herb rice. It's going to be good. I'm pretty excited about it today. So let's walk through all of the ingredients. We'll walk through everything that we need for today. So, everybody, we're making Palak Paneer. You know what that means? Also, John, thank you so much for the sub. Really appreciate it. If you're making Palak Paneer, we got to put the Palak in the Palak Paneer. This is your most essential component. We have a bunch of spinach. Also, thank you, Evil. It's lovely to see you. We have a bunch of spinach. We have a bunch of baby spinach. Ideally, I would not be using boxed Stop and Shop branded baby spinach. I do not like baby spinach. Use adult spinach that you can buy and weigh out if you have that available to you, or buy it by the bundle. If this is all that you have available to you, well, we'll also be making this work. This is a big box of spinach, and all of it is going to cook down, and we're going to make a little puree out of the spinach. That's then going to go into the Palak Paneer. I'm going to have some sliced, and then I'm going to have some of it basically go into the sauce, the actual body of the curry itself. So it's going to be blanched, and we're going to put it in the blender, and then we'll save some of the leaves and then chop it up to put into the curry itself. And it's going to be really delicious. Okay, so that's one of the main components for today. And the next thing that we got, guys, we got a thing of milk. I got a quart of milk. I'm going to be showing you how to make your own cheese at home, because let me tell you something. Let me tell you all something. Have you ever tried to buy halloumi? Have you ever tried to buy paneer just to be able to make Indian food with? It is inexplicably $8 for a small teeny tiny package of paneer, especially in New York. It costs way too much where I'm at. And so, it is really the most simple thing in the world. It is just milk, it's a little bit of acid, and it's a little bit of pressing and time and love, and we will have the most delicious, easy, cheap, homemade cheese. Every single culture that has dairy to some extent has also developed this kind of a cheese. This is a fresh cheese. It's not a fermented or aged cheese. A fresh cheese where all that we do, we separate the curds from the whey. We take the curds, we press them into this beautiful brick, and then we strain out the whey. That's all that we're doing. We're going to be separating this milk. I'm going to be showing you exactly how to do it. I'm going to show you guys how to make a lovely homemade cheese. Okay? This would be also the same process if you wanted to make like a queso fresco, aka like a farmer's cheese. Except we wouldn't necessarily press it as much. But yeah, there you go, some whole milk. I got a whole quart of this bad boy, and we're gonna be using all of it up. Okay, what else do we have? So, for the curry itself, for the Palak Paneer, guys, I have an onion, okay? We have a little bit of garlic, and I have 2 tomatoes, as well as some ginger. Okay, guys, this right here, garlic and ginger. You cannot have Indian cooking without it. Garlic ginger paste. It is everywhere in Indian cooking. It is a fundamental to so many different dishes. Okay, and then we have tomatoes, just to give it a little bit of acidity, just to give the whole thing a little bit of sweetness, just to give this curry a little bit more base. We're essentially going to be making, also Dosky, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you, that's very sweet of you. We're essentially going to be making a base. We're going to be making this really delicious saucy base for us to then cook the spinach in. It's gonna be super delicious. Okay, and then let's talk about some of my spices for today. Okay, let's talk about some of my seasonings for today. Guys, over here, I have some... I have some mustard seeds. I am quite thankful that this thing did not just spill out on my floor. That would have been awful. I have some yellow mustard seeds. Yellow mustard seeds are a little bit more mild than black mustard seeds. Okay, we have some fenugreek. We have, of course, some whole cumin seeds, and we have some cardamom pods. Okay, these cardamom pods, super delicious. They have like a really like citriness to them. They have a real zest to them. They're really delicious. They're going to go into the curry as well, into the Palak Paneer. We're going to build so much flavor with all of these spices. I'll show you how to make the spice blend and the mixture for it. It's going to be pretty wonderful. Okay, let me go ahead and put this all behind me. And then we'll also be making a little parsley rice with some onion and turmeric, just to give it a little bit of flavor, just to give it a little bit of extra love. Okay. Yeah, with that being said, everybody, we doing good today? Is everybody ready for today's stream? Did I get the cardamom pods online or in an ethnic grocery? I got this at a South Asian store. Because there you can get like a lot of different spices. That's a good question. Yeah, Chef, perfect. I'm happy to hear it. Also, hello to Buildman Plays. Welcome on in. So, everybody, the first step for today, we're going to be making some cheese, and I'm going to walk you through this and why we're doing this at home. Store-bought paneer, to be able to like make these kinds of dishes, is way too expensive for what it is. It has no right being that expensive. And so I wanted to be able to do this at home. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to heat the milk. We're going to add some acid to it in the form of vinegar, but people also use lemon juice or lime juice. Okay, we're going to separate it, and then we're going to strain it out in a cheesecloth, and let's talk about that right now. So let's head over here. Let's get this keyboard out of the way. Guys, first step, we got a big old colander ready to go. This colander right here, we just need something big enough that's going to hold all of the way, all the curds, excuse me. So we're going to be heating up the milk. We're going to be separating it, okay, using a little bit of acid, and then we'll be pouring it through this. Now, of course, the holes on this are a little bit too big, okay, and all the curds will just end up slipping through. And so for that, I have some cheesecloth. I bought some cheesecloth. You don't have to use cheesecloth. You can also use a paper towel, but cheesecloth is nice because it's very durable, okay? So, guys, cheesecloth. Let me open up this container. We're gonna need like 1 sheet of cheesecloth. It's used for exactly this purpose, for straining out the cheese, to keep the curds inside and to strain out the water. Let's open it up, because it was still sealed. Also, thank you, Nicola. Appreciate it. Okay, guys, let's get some cheesecloth. Let's get one of these bad boys. Let's get a sheet of these guys. There we go. This is a lot of cheesecloth, by the way. I'm not sure if you guys know this. Is that dust on it? Is there dust on this cheesecloth? Are they serious? What is that? Whoa. Am I gonna have to like wash this and run this through some water first? I may have to do so. I see like there's like some very little bit of dust. Okay, anyhow, that doesn't matter. Guys, we have some cheesecloth right here, and all that we're going to do, whoa, we're not gonna slide my knife at me. We're going to take the cheesecloth and we're going to put it over the colander for today. Okay, we put it over the colander like so. And I just wanna get the station ready. I just wanted to get it set up for when we actually make the cheese itself. Okay, so really simple station. Let's head to the stove as well, now that that has been fully set up. Guys, we gotta heat up some milk. We're gonna heat up some milk to around 190 degrees or so. The reasoning for this, I actually have seen quite a bit of inconsistent information on this. Some people say that heating up the milk helps it to actually then separate when we add the acid to it. Some people say it's for the development and the texture of it, and some people say it's to pasteurize it. I don't actually have an answer for you. This is only my 2nd or 3rd time making cheese at home, and it is something I would love to get into the habit of being able to do more. So, in order to do that, we have to first practice and experiment by using what we already know and already trusted techniques, because I don't feel confident enough to completely break off on my own and invent my own methods for this. Guys, I got a pot, and I have a quart of milk, and we're gonna make however much cheese this thing of milk yields. Actually, hold on. Okay, however much cheese that's going to yield for us. I love milk. It's so good. Okay, that's enough. That's enough milk. Guys, we're just gonna pour it in. Boop, just like that. And we're gonna set it onto, and this is key, you wanna set this onto a medium flame. You wanna set this onto a medium flame. Also, tea, don't talk smack about me drinking milk. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of milk, okay? Guys, medium flame, because remember, milk is full of sugars, it's full of proteins. If you blast this onto a super high heat, it's going to scald and scorch on the bottom. Okay. Well, it was lovely to have you, Jack. It was lovely to have you, Foragers, as well. Hope you all have a beautiful night. But yes, guys, you do not want to blast this milk on a super high heat. You'll end up scorching it. You'll end up scalding it on the bottom. It's not just a pure liquid, right? So medium heat, and we're going to be stirring it pretty often. We're going to be stirring it pretty often just to make sure that it's evenly heating through. Also, Dosky, thank you so much for the gifted sub. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to get a spoon. It doesn't really matter what, like a nice little wooden spoon. And we're just going to be mixing it every so often, okay? Mixing it every so often, and then once this is heated up enough, I'm going to test the temperature of it, and I'm going to be looking for something in the range of 185, 190 degrees Fahrenheit. This is sort of the commonly cited, the commonly quoted number figure that you see people say quite a bit. Also, thank you, Decimal. I appreciate it. Okay, milk, it's going. There's really not a whole lot to this process. We're just heating up the milk. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my thermometer is also ready to go for when we need it. Okay, just make sure that it's like, you know, functional. Yeah, at the moment, it's cooler than room temperature. It's not getting anywhere quite yet, guys. Just be nice and patient with it, and we'll get it up to temperature. We'll get it to exactly where it needs to be. We'll strain it out. It'll be really, really good. Also, really quickly, the thing that we have to keep in mind is we need a little bit of acid. Now, the actual acid that you use is completely up to you. Some people will use just a citric acid for a completely neutral taste. I'm going to be using vinegar for that neutral taste as well. You can use citric acid, you can use lemon juice, you can use anything particularly acidic that you have available to you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that set up as well. Just get a little container of it. And I don't have an exact ratio. I don't have an exact proportion for you. You're going to see it's going to be like magic. We're going to like spoon in a little bit of vinegar at a time until the milk actually separates. Some days it takes more, some days it takes less. The entire function of the vinegar is just to separate the milk out. Okay? So, really quickly, this bowl right here, we're going to make sure the colander is sitting here and it's ready to go for when we need it. I'm just going to go ahead and place that behind me. I'm going to give this milk a little bit of a stir. Again, we just want to be scraping up the bottom. We want to make sure that none of the proteins, that none of the sugars are scalding, nothing is burning. You don't want to blast your milk with a super high heat. Okay, guys, once again, the colander with a cheesecloth, okay, is sitting on a nice big bowl that we'll be straining everything else out in, okay? And now let's get the vinegar set up as well, while the milk is getting up to temperature, while that's heating up. Okay, I no longer need any of the cheesecloth. It has fulfilled its function for us. We will not be needing any more today. Okay, so let's get a little vessel. I'm going to use one of these bad boys. I'm just gonna portion out a certain amount of vinegar. Again, the actual amount will vary depending on the day. It depends on your milk. It depends on a lot of different factors. Don't overthink it. Okay, we're just going to spoon it in until it actually ends up curdling. Okay, so let's get a little spoon. Is that gonna tip over? I think it's gonna tip over. I think I need a heavier bowl. Something like this. Okay, I just wanna get my station food set up and ready to go because when it's time, when the milk is actually heated, I just wanna be able to mix it in and not really overthink it. Okay. Guys, it's super easy, it's super simple. A little bit of vinegar, just going in now. Again, we're not going to be using all of it. We don't need all of it. We just need enough for that milk to actually end up separating it. Also, I've seen some people add salt into the milk boiling process. Adding salt now is not going to do anything for you. You're just going to end up wasting salt because when you strain out the whey, all that salt will instead just be dissolved into the whey. Also, Decimal, it's called a wolf cut. Okay, let's give that a little stir. I can feel like the bottom, like there's like something like slightly sticking to it. So just really, really want to make sure that you're agitating it. Just go on a nice low heat, stirring this pretty often. Okay, let's get a reading of the temperature. See how that's doing. We're getting to about 120 degrees at this point. 124, 125. So still quite a bit away, but we're getting there. And I'm going to be just continuously adjusting this as I go along. So please forgive me in the meantime. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the cheese making process so far? Does everybody understand why we're doing this, what this will be used for? This is going to be the, really, really like fundamental component of the Palak Paneer, right? It's the paneer component. We're making a cheese. We're going to get these really, really soft, delicious cubes of cheese in the curry. And this is not a bechamel. We're making cheese. We're not making a cheese sauce, underestimated monkey. We're making cheese. So we're going to be separating that milk. So it's getting there. We're just getting it up to temperature at the moment. We're getting it up to 190 degrees. Okay. And then I'll show you exactly what we do after. So just stir it around a little bit. Let's get another temperature reading, see how that's doing. 135, we're still a little bit away, guys. 190, 185 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, I'm sorry, Evil. I apologize for distracting you. But yeah, guys, I'm still like adjusting to the hair, so I'm like still fiddling with it. It's kind of in my face more than usual. But it's cute, so it's fine. It's chill. Okay, let's have a little sip of water. We're just going to focus on this. We're going to give this all the attention it needs. So here's the order of operations. We heat it up until 190 degrees. We're going to heat it up until it's 190 degrees. We're going to add some vinegar in to separate the curds from the whey. We're going to let it sit a little bit. We're going to strain it out into the cheesecloth, and then we're going to squeeze out all the liquid, okay? And then we're going to press it under something super heavy. I think I'm going to be using my Dutch oven for this, okay? And so the actual squeezing and pressing, it's essentially if you want to get like a very like cube, if you want like a block of cheese at the end of this. But if you're looking for something like a queso fresco, you can actually just stop there. Every single culture, they have their own form of a fresh cheese, right? In every single cuisine that has dairy, they have their own form of fresh cheese. It's not fermented, it's not aged, it's really simple. It's just milk and it's acid, okay? So this is going still. I'm just going to be stirring it up, making sure, again, that nothing is scalding, nothing is squelching, nothing is sticking to the bottom. Because we don't want to burn the milk. Remember, it's full of proteins, it's full of sugars. But we will be breaking that emulsion with a little bit of acid. A little bit of acid is going to go a long way for us. Okay, 155 and climbing, 159. 160. Oh, guys, we're almost there. Yeah, we're at 165. So just a few more degrees until we're at 185. And then we'll kill the heat. We'll add some vinegar in, and it'll be perfect. Does anybody have any questions about this so far? Any questions about this process at all? And then after we do this, we're going to basically press it out for an hour, and we'll be moving on to quite a few other things that we have to do. We have to do all the prep for the curry. We have to blanch the spinach. We have a lot of vegetables to go through as well. This is Fahrenheit. Yes. I would like to emphasize that this is degrees Fahrenheit. I don't think it would be possible to get a liquid to past 100 degrees Celsius. So thank you for the clarification, Moonha. Yeah. You got it. Okay. How many times per stream am I going to have to adjust my hair? About like every 2 minutes. Something along those lines. Okay. Let's get that temperature reading one more time. Let's see where it's at. 150, 160, 165, 170. Okay, one more minute of cooking, guys. And then this milk is going to be where we need it to be. I think I did squelch some of my milk on one side on the bottom. I didn't stir this as heavily as I should have. Is there any particular reason I picked vinegar? Yes, celery. I'm picking vinegar because it has a very, very neutral taste. I feel like the lemon and the citrusiness of it and the inconsistency of its acidity will lead to us using very variable amounts. What's the temperature in Kelvin? I'm sorry, Inari, I don't think I could give you a good Fahrenheit Kelvin conversion at the moment. Okay. I think we're done. I think that should be now 180 degrees Fahrenheit or so. Let's give that another check. Let's give that another peek. Okay, perfect, guys. This is around 185 now. So again, I'm just going to be stirring this up. Okay, I'm going to be lowering the heat because we're going to keep it warm. And all I'm going to do now is we're going to spoon in. I'm going to start with 2 of these teaspoons worth of vinegar. And I'm just going to be gently stirring it in. You don't want to stir this in too aggressively because you don't want to actually break the curds. All you want to do is just get that vinegar evenly and easily incorporated throughout. Okay, a couple more spoons. Okay, and you can already see that it's starting to foam up a little bit, starting to clump up a little bit. We can shut off the heat now. We don't need any additional heat on this. It's separating, the curds are forming. That really was just like 4 teaspoons of the vinegar itself, and the thing is now fully separating. But guys, be very gentle with this. You don't want to break up the size of the curds. You don't want a bunch of really, really tiny, really fine curds. Okay? We're going to do probably 1 more spoon of vinegar for good measure, and we'll be washing this out with clean water just to get rid of any extra acidity that may be left over from the vinegar. Okay? So 1 more of these bad boys going in now. And again, if it's going to be too acidic, we'll be able to clean it up after. It'll be okay. It's lumping up, it's getting nice and curdled, okay? But it's still not fully separated yet. Well, you can still see that the rest of the milk is like really, really opaque still, and it's not turning clear, because the whey will be clear, and the curds themselves will be like where all the white part is gone. I'm just looking for any acid whatsoever, Death Owl. Any acid at all. Okay, I think I'm going to do 1, 2 more for good measure. Again, we're just looking for the whole thing to turn really nice and clear. For all that vinegar to be added on in. I may end up needing more. We'll see how it goes. I'm not trying to break up the curds. I'm not trying to get them in super fine pieces. And now, guys, you can see. The top of it is turning more and more translucent. It's turning more and more transparent. All of the white part of the milk, all of the curds, now they're starting to rise up to the top, and it's now fully separating from the whey. So we're going to give this 5 minutes to stand by itself. That is the point of separation that we're looking for. We're not looking for the liquid to be opaque anymore. We're not looking for it to be white and milky. We're looking for this to be clear and tinted like a little bit beige. Like so, okay? So really, really simple. We're not breaking it up. We're not using a whisk. We're not like stirring this up too aggressively. If you do that, your curds will be too fine. Some of it will get stuck in the cheesecloth and it won't strain properly. And you won't get the texture of cheese that you're looking for through this. Okay? So we're just so gentle with our wooden spoon, guys. We're super, super gentle. We're just moving it around ever so slightly. You need that separation, right? It's going to make sure that the cheese isn't too wet, that we're getting rid of all the excess water from it. I'm going to do 1 more teaspoon of vinegar just because I'm feeling a little bit impatient on it. Just to be entirely sure. And again, we'll be rinsing all of this out with water so that we don't have any, excess acidity in it. Okay, great. So that's going. Again, we're just leaving that for a total of 5 minutes. I have some fresh water as well that I have ready in a kettle. We don't need hot water for this or anything. We're just gonna have that fresh water ready for us to, incorporate into it. Guys, this is how easy it is to make your own homemade cheese. That's all you need. There is no exact ratio here either. All I'm using is a little bit of vinegar. I'm using some milk. This is a really nice way to use up leftover milk as well simultaneously. Okay? Guys, we're getting it done. We're making some really, really beautiful, delicious homemade cheese. It's sweet, it's creamy, it's going to be wonderful. And look how big the curds are. Look how big those sections are. Again, we do not want to break that up too much. We don't want super tiny curds, okay? If you want a nice, soft, like really, really creamy paneer all the way through, you don't want to break this up too much. Does everybody understand? I want to hear a yes, chef, please and thank you from everybody watching. Okay. Nice and easy. And once again, guys, we have a colander sitting in a bowl with a cheesecloth. and we'll be straining it out into the cheesecloth. And then once it's strained out, we'll be pouring in the fresh water to get rid of any acidity and to also cool it down for us. And then we're going to grab it and we're going to tie it up and we're going to squeeze it. And then we're going to put it down onto a plate with a press. Let's get that plate ready, by the way. Let's get that plate ready while this is happening. So what I have in mind is I'm going to do this plate right here. Okay, this plate, and I'm thinking I'm going to have my cheese on it, and then I'm going to just slap this Dutch oven on the whole deal. I want a lot of weight on it. It's going to press it and give us that final texture of the curry that we're looking for. And so I want to protect the bottom of my Dutch oven. I don't want to get it dirty. So I think I'm just going to use like some foil or maybe like some plastic wrap or something on the bottom just to make sure that it doesn't get dirty. Or some parchment. Parchment and a little bit of plastic wrap and foil would be fine. I don't know what you're trying to say. I'm sorry. Yeah. I apologize, Adrian. Okay, guys, the cheese is continuing to separate. I'm going to show it to you. Again, we want to be very delicate with this mixture. We don't want to like stir break this up too much, but you can see all of the curds are on the top and all of the whey, right? All of that like fluid is on the bottom now. 2 more minutes. We're just letting it stand. We're letting it sit. We're letting it separate. We're letting it happen. Guys, this is how easy it is to make your own homemade cheese. This is how easy it is, okay? It's really, really simple. Anybody can do it. And you're going to be sometimes getting a much cheaper product than if you were to go to the grocery store and buy a thing of paneer. Because paneer is inexplicably expensive. I cannot explain to you why. I just do not get it. Okay, guys, it's sitting. We've got 1 more minute of it just sitting and chilling out. I'm just scraping up the bottom just to make sure I'm getting anything that could be potentially stuck to the bottom. All of my curds have come out now. I'm not breaking it up though, right? You can just see I'm gently shoving it. I'm gently pushing it aside, right? I'm like sweeping it, but I'm not bashing it with a whisk or anything. That would be a huge mistake, and I don't want you to do that. Okay. I'm going to just move this over here. We'll be straining it out into this bowl, into this colander. You guys ready for this? The cheese is about to take form. It's about to take shape for us today. Okay, I'm gonna have a sip of water. Okay. That has done its job, okay? The cheese has now fully separated. The curd is separated from the whey. We don't need the whey. Now, a lot of people, they will use the whey. Traditionally in Mexico, people use the whey for making cheese. In some parts of Mexico, I saw they make a salsa out of it. And in other parts, you see the whey sometimes being used in marinades for things. I have no use for the whey at this moment in time. It is a very nice byproduct that you can make quite a few things with. I just don't have a present use for it. So, guys, we're gonna take our pot and we're just going to dump it out. Nice and easy. In it all goes. And that's it. Whoa, why is it bubbling? Wait, that is so weird. Why was it bubbling and moving on its own? Like some steam got trapped. That was... I can't explain to you why that actually just happened. I don't really have an answer for you. Okay. So guys, take a look. This is our cheese. Also, thank you so much to Dosky for the gifted sub yet again. Thank you, thank you. It's very sweet of you. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and dump out some of this water because you can see it's pooling up on the bottom, right? And we don't need that liquid that's pooling up on the bottom. But first, we're going to go ahead and just clean this up with some nice, fresh, cool water. And this water, the function of this water is to get rid of any remaining acidity, any of the remaining vinegar, because we don't need it, okay? We don't need it, we don't want it. It has no place in the paneer that we're doing. So a bunch of fresh, cool water, get it in there, okay? Lift it up. There we go, guys. We just got now a cheesecloth full of cheese curds. All right, we're letting it just sort of drain out all of that liquid. Oof, I do wish, you know, I'm gonna put this on a plate so that I can just take everything that's here. Ah, come on, buddy, you can fit. It can't fit, actually. I need a plate big enough to accommodate it because I wanna just take and dump out all of this liquid. We do not need this liquid. You can save it if you want, again, but I'm not an expert on what to make out of the byproduct of this. So I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna dump this all out. I don't need any of that way, guys. And now one more time, we're just going to rinse this out with some nice, cool, fresh water. Okay? Just plain old water. And this is going to help us to cool it down enough that we can handle this with our paws, with our bare hands as well. Take it and some nice fresh water yet again. Okay? Guys, we're going to take this whole thing. We're going to take it, pick it up like so. We're going to bundle it up in our hands. And then we're going to squeeze it. And we're going to get rid of all of that weight. You don't want to press this too hard, okay? Because if you press it too hard, you're going to start pressing some of the curds through. But this is the ensuing cheese that we get. Look at it go, guys. There it is. It's in here. All of this is how much we get. We basically get one ball of mozzarella worth of cheese from 1 quart of milk. Okay, and we're going to squeeze it. We're just going to give it a big old squeeze. We're going to press out as much of this liquid as we can. We do not want this liquid, guys. It has no place in the cheese that we're doing. It's just going to interfere with the final texture. Just get it out there. Get it all gone. It is my first time doing paneer like this, because the last time I was doing a queso fresco, which would be basically unpressed. You would not have to do any of this actual processing for it. Okay, there we go. We got most of the water out. I think that should be okay now. Right? I'm going to just put that onto my other plate for a moment's time. We no longer need any of this setup. We do not need it anymore, guys. We don't need that colander. We don't need that bowl. Everybody, please say thank you to the colander. And yes, I did use vinegar. Okay, let's get, I'm going to wipe down my station really quickly. Because I ended up splashing some whey here and there. We no longer need this. We don't need any of this stuff anymore. The thermometer, everything has done its job for us. I'm just wiping down my station really quickly. Okay, and now it's time to actually press the cheese. Let's get that cheese pressed, guys. So, cheesecloth. Cheese. It's right here. All we're going to do, you can see that it's really starting to take some form. We're going to take it and we're going to basically press this into a big flat disc. Okay? Just think about the width that you actually want for this final product. Think about the total size that you want this to be. And you just want to make sure that it's nice and even. You're gathering up any of those bits of curd, and you're packing it into the cheese. Guys, this is my first time doing this. If it doesn't go great, I think it'll be okay, but please bear with me for this process, okay? I'm trying my best here. Okay. I think that should be okay. I just want to make sure that everything is nicely, everything is just nicely gathered. Okay, everything seems to be nicely gathered. Let's go ahead and close this up now. Again, I've made a queso fresco before, but this is something that I want to get into the habit of doing myself at home, okay? And now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to take a nice small cutting board, like so, okay? Something like this. And then we're going to go ahead and press this with the Dutch oven. Let's go ahead and set that up over here, actually. So guys, once again, we have the cheese, we have a little flat cutting board on it, and now we're going to grab this Dutch oven. And this is what's going to press on the cheese. Now, there is one problem with this. There is one problem with this method, and I've realized that this pan that I have, it actually has edges. So it makes it actually quite difficult for us to get something heavy onto it. And I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to just use a sheet tray and not a plate. A sheet tray might be a bit of a better fit than this would be. So I'm just making sure, guys, I'm just making sure that everything is going to fit really, really nicely when we get down to it. Okay, let's get a sheet tray. One that can accommodate this much cheese. One that can accommodate the size of my Dutch oven. Ah, ignore all of those sounds. Okay. Grab that. There you go. Lovely. And now, we'll put on the wooden cutting board just to be able to evenly distribute the weight of the Dutch oven that we're about to put on. And then we'll stack on the Dutch oven. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's my cheese pressing setup. That's my cheese pressing setup. Guys, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put this just behind me on the stove somewhere, just to make a little bit of space for myself now. And that's gonna take about an hour. You want to give that about 30 minutes to an hour of pressing. And that's going to give us the final texture that we're looking for. So actually, wait, maybe I should have waited on putting the Dutch oven on. Okay. So once again, cutting board to distribute the weight, Dutch oven on, right in the middle. Something like that. There you go. Guys, that's it. That's all that we needed to do for the cheese. And now we're going to press it like that for about an hour's time. You excited? You guys excited to see how it comes out? I'm excited. I'm going to set a timer for an hour. Kitchen timer. Pop. And that's it. That's all that there is to it. Everybody, we've done the biggest thing so far. We've accomplished in actually making the paneer. We've actually accomplished making the cheese. No, Tarina, we don't need something to absorb the liquid. We've squeezed out the majority of the liquid. The rest of the liquid will just go onto the edges of the sheet tray. And yeah, I do have some new hair. That's right. So, Decimilba has asked, are silicone utensils better than ones made out of wood? It depends. They both have their time and place. Wooden ones, they take a little bit more maintenance, but I like wooden ones more. Honestly, I feel like they just fulfill different functions. Neither one is better than another. Okay. I don't love this hair getting in my face though. That is getting pretty annoying. Okay guys, I'm gonna take a second just to clean up. I'm gonna take a second just to put a couple of things away. Right, because we took out a bunch of stuff to be able to make the paneer portion of today's dish. So some of it can go into the sink. My pot, especially with the curds, that can just go into the dishwasher. We have no more use for it. The pot has done its one job for us today. So in all that goes. Come on, buddy. You got this. Thank you. I'm glad the hair looks good, but it is getting a little bit annoying. Guys, I'm thinking, are we tying the hair up? Is it time for us to finally tie the hair up? It was getting in my face. It was getting a little bit annoying. It might be time. I never tie my hair up in the kitchen. I usually hate having a ponytail on. But today might be the day this happens. Is this a look? Is this a look, guys? I don't know. I can't tell. Why is it so hot in my home? Why is it 75 degrees in here? That's crazy. I don't need it to be 75 degrees, guys. I'm on camera. I have a bunch of lights on me. I don't know. I can't tell if this is a look or not. It's a look? Okay. I'm going to trust and defer to you guys in chat. Something like this. Okay. So, I'm going to continue putting a couple of things away. We've done the cheese portion that has now been officially completed. Thank you for your patience with me through this process, guys. It's my first time that I'm doing any kind of pressed cheese. I've never done a pressed cheese before, and that's what I wanted to do today. I wanted to see, hey, how feasible, how realistic is this to do at home? How consistent is this going to be to do at home? So let's have a little sip of water, and I'm going to wash my hands off because they came into contact with the whey, which was quite acidic. Okay. Sweet. And guys, normally everything that I make on stream, everything is very meat focused. Everything is really meat-based whenever we cook on stream, so it's nice to do something vegetarian. Not vegan today because, you know, it's going to have the cheese in it and everything, but vegetarian. It's step up. Jamie Oliver could never pull off that look. So true. Okay. Ooh. Oh no. Did I get some whey on the floor? I did. I'm going to have to clean that up for a second. I apologize. I did not expect to splash so much whey all over the place. Hi, everybody. Little recap session. We've today so far accomplished just one thing. We have made the paneer element and it is currently pressing. I taught you how to separate it using a little bit of vinegar. Okay? We just did this with a quart of milk. We're going to be making everything really, really nice and cheap by doing this homemade because sometimes store-bought paneer can be way too expensive for what it is. Okay? And now we can proceed with everything else that we need for the Palak paneer because paneer is actually just half of the story. It's just half of the puzzle. We have to still focus on the spinach. We have to focus on everything that we need to actually make the gravy for today. This is a curry that's consisting primarily of spinach. It's all about the spinach. So we're going to need to blanch some spinach. Okay, we're going to need to blanch it. We're going to shock it in some cold water. And we're going to press out all the liquid from it. So kind of exactly what we already did with, with the cheese. We're going to be doing basically the same exact thing to the spinach, I've realized. So it's a good thing I didn't put away that colander because we're going to need that thing. Okay, is it possible to press too hard? Yes, Serena. If you press it too hard, you will end up sort of like pushing some of the curds through the cheesecloth itself. Yeah, you can't press too hard. Oh, are you talking about the Dutch oven? This stage, the pressing stage, not the squeezing stage? I have no idea. That's my answer. I have no idea. So we'll see. We'll find out. Okay, so let's proceed with everything else that we need for the curry today. Let's do the tomatoes. Hell yeah. Okay. So, guys, a little bit of a throwback, not something that we've done in a while, but any time that you've seen me use tomatoes on stream, typically speaking, I love charring my tomatoes. I love burning the outside skin on them. This is a technique that I've picked up from doing a lot of Mexican cooking. Okay, right? Where you would intentionally char some of your ingredients to make them nice and smoky, and to give everything a little bit of extra oomph. Because tomatoes will be a feature in this fairly simple dish, I also wanted to char the skins on these tomatoes. So I have 2 plum tomatoes. It's going to add a nice sweetness, it's going to add a nice acidity, and the char on the skin is going to add a very nice smokiness into the whole thing. I'm going to be preheating my broiler. I'm setting my broiler onto high, okay? And we're going to be taking these tomatoes and we'll be popping them under the broiler to char up that skin, okay? So we take it and we slice it in half, like so. And we're going to do the same exact thing to the other tomato half, okay? And then, guys, you're going to take your knife and you're going to make a diagonal incision to get rid of the core of the tomato because it's really, really woody and can be quite unpleasant to eat. This one's got kind of stuck though. And we're going to go ahead and do that with every single half of the tomato. So cut it out, excellent. Cut it out, excellent. There you go. Okay, we have a couple of tomato halves. I have my sheet tray right here. And guys, all that we're going to do, we're going to put this under the broiler. We're going to char the skins so that the whole thing gets really, really nice and smoky. I'm going to get some aluminum foil. I'm excited for the Dune movie. Decimal, I've never even seen the first Dune movie. I didn't know there was like a second one being made. So guys, this is all we gotta do for the tomatoes. We take them and we're just gonna throw these things onto our sheet tray. Okay, 4 tomato halves. Mods, can we please take care of that person in chat? For tomato halves, all we're going to do, guys, we're going to pop it under the broiler. We're going to char those skins. We're going to get it really, really nice and smoky. And then we're going to blend it down afterwards, okay? And this is going to add a really good flavor into the curry itself. Now, is this step necessary? Not particularly. Is this step traditional? Not really either. But this is something that I love doing with tomatoes anytime that I have them. Can I get a yes, chef? Does everybody understand? Do you all get the message? Do you all get the idea? We're charring it. We're going to blacken the skins. We're not really going to cook the tomatoes through. I'm going to put this under the broiler, and we're going to get it nicely blackened. Okay. Excellent. Nice and easy. So, what else do we actually need for today's curry that we're doing? Well, we have to process up a little bit of onion. So let's go ahead and get some of that started. Okay. I'm also going to take a paper towel and wipe down my cutting board. Make sure that my station is being kept really, really nice and dry while we're working. I'm also going to wash my hands off because the tomatoes were acidic and I don't want that to stay on my hands because I have eczema. and wipe off my hands really quickly. That's only 5 people saying, yeah, chef, what's going on? That's only 4 people. Guys, wake up. It's a Friday. Thank you. That's a little bit better. I wanna see everybody be nice and lively. Okay. So, I have 1 small onion here. And this is going to go into the curry itself. We don't want massive chunks of onion because it's not about biting into big chunks of onion. This curry is all about having a really, really delicious, smooth sauce. And we want the onion chopped up fine enough that it's essentially going to melt into the sauce. Who eats the food? Myself and my mom, Space Belly. Myself and my mom. So, we have 1 small onion. We're going to cut the head off. Okay? We cut the head off. We put it down, head side down now, right? The root facing upwards. We're keeping the root intact. We take it, and then we cut it in half once more. On it, Space Belly. I'll let you know if I need anything. I'm going to take some gloves for this. And so guys, once again, I'm looking for a fairly finely chopped onion. I don't want this onion to be cut too big because the goal of this curry is for it to be really, really nice and smooth. Right? We're essentially going to be building a gravy. And we don't want a lot of chunks and pieces in there. That's not the actual paneer itself. Okay? The finer you also cut it, the more sweet it's going to be. Because a lot of the onion will just sort of end up breaking down and contributing that sweetness into the curry. So I'm taking it and I'm peeling it. I'm also going to roll up my sleeves. I think that would be a good move for me. Boop. Just like so. Okay, and then we're going to make a bunch of parallel incisions all the way through. We're not cutting all the way to the end of the root. We're just making a bunch of parallel incisions, guys. Okay? Just like so. And we're basically fanning out the onion. We're keeping the root intact. We're fanning out the onion. And we're going through it, and we're cutting it up. Okay? And then, let's make sure that we have a place to actually put the onions after we've chopped them up. So I'm gonna get my bowl out. I'm gonna get my bench scraper up because we don't wanna overcrowd the cutting board. Otherwise, things start getting messy. So this is a fairly small dice, not like a fine dice. It's not like a fine mince, but it's a small dice. Okay? The bigger you cut it, the more intact it's going to be. And I don't want big pieces of onion in this curry today. Okay, excellent. Take the bench scraper once again and just use it to clean up our station as we go. In fact, I think I'm going to save a quarter of this onion for the rice. We don't need a lot of onion for the rice itself, and we'll be chopping it a little bit differently for the rice. So this I'm going to just set aside. But then this onion, once again, we're going to do the same exact thing as before. We're just going to make a bunch of vertical incisions all the way through. And then guys, nice small dice. We're slicing, we're going all the way through this thing. Perfect. That's right. Bench scraper, it's one of my favorite kitchen tools. Everybody should own a bench scraper. It's so nice, it's so much easier to use than using the side of your knife. If you're using your knife, you're going to end up dulling your knife. Okay? And your knife, especially if it's something like a chef's knife like this, it doesn't have a flat edge, right? It just curves. Even this side sort of curves downwards. I'm also crying a little bit. It's a good sign that my onion was also kind of old. And I think my knives can use a nice sharpening at this point. But that's okay. So, 3/4 of an onion. I'm going to have that set aside. I'm going to have that sitting behind me. Let's also get the onion prep that we need for the rice itself. We're going to cut off the root end. And for the rice, I'm just going to julienne this. So we're not cutting it perpendicular. We're not basically getting grains of onion. We're just going to go parallel to the grain of the onion itself. And we're going to get nice thin slices all the way through. Something like this. And again, the way that you actually cut the onion for this rice, guys, it doesn't really matter. It's entirely up to you. I just really like having these shreds of onion amongst the rice. It's one of my favorite textures. But again, this step, it's entirely up to you based on how you want to do it. Okay. In the meantime, guys, don't forget we have the tomatoes under the broiler. We're going to go ahead and give them a little look. We're going to give them a little peek and see how they're doing. Okay. So let's go take a look at the tomatoes. And again, the goal is to get the skins blackened. It's to get it really nicely charred. So take a look, guys. That's exactly what we're looking for, and we can stop now. We're not looking to cook the tomato through. We're not looking for it to get really, really tender. The only goal is I want it to blacken that skin so that it would get a little bit smoky, so that when we blend it up, okay, it's going to contribute that smokiness into the curry itself. So now we're just cooling it off. We're just letting it chill out for a little bit. We don't really need this at the moment. Okay, yeah, we got a lot to do, guys. We have quite a bit of prep left to do. Okay, the next step, guys, I want to get done the blanching stage. I want to blanch the spinach. So why are we blanching the spinach? Well, because we want to puree the spinach. If any of you have cooked with spinach before, you would know that spinach, when it's applied, any sort of heat is applied to it, it immediately shrinks up, right? You could have all of this spinach and then it shrinks up and you get a ball of spinach left over. And so we're blanching it in order to get it into a much more manageable size, and then we're going to blend it down. If we blended it without blanching it, okay, we're going to have a lot of excess water, and it's going to end up turning brown. So the blanching stage actually helps to stabilize it simultaneously, okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to take this sheet tray, and I'm gonna move this aside. I'm going to get another pot, and I'm gonna fill it up with some water. I'm gonna fill it up with water, and I'm gonna set it on to boil. Again, the water doesn't have to be like boiling hot. It just has to be hot enough that we'll be able to easily wilt up the spinach. So please excuse me, I neglected to do so before the stream. I should have done this beforehand. But alas, I'm only doing this now. And the spinach itself, it's barely going to be cooked. It's not going to be cooked at all. All that we're going to be doing with it is we're going to blanch it. But after it's been blanched, it's not going to be cooked down because we want to really preserve the vibrancy. We want to preserve how green it is, how beautiful it is. Okay, we don't even need to salt this water or anything, guys. All that we want to do, we just want to slap a lid on it. Slap a lid on it and call it a day. Okay, that's all that there is to it, guys. We're keeping it really, really nice and simple. Put a lid on, perfect. Take the heat on, nice high heat, and we're just going to bring this up to a boil. Okay. So, that's boiling, that's going. Let's get the rest of the prep done that we need to for today. So, I talked about it before. Guys, one of the most important flavors in all of Indian cooking is the garlic ginger paste. The garlic ginger paste is used in almost every single dish. It is used all over the place. Okay? And so, we need plenty of it. We're going to need plenty of it. We're going to get a couple of cloves of garlic. We're going to mince up a little bit of ginger as well. So let's go ahead and get that done. I'm going to peel the garlic cloves, or rather I'm just going to take them off the head over the bowl so that none of the papery skins end up getting on the cutting board. Okay? Chat, are we awake? I want to hear yes, chef. Please and thank you. Okay, for today's curry, I'm going to do about 3 cloves of garlic. Something like this. And then I'm also going to save 1 clove for the rice. So 3 cloves for the Palak Paneer, and then 1 for the rice that we're doing. Okay, because we're going to be basically making a little seasoning for the rice. So 4 cloves of garlic. Okay, and then I don't want to use too much ginger. I don't want the ginger to become an overpowering element. So I'm going to show you how much we end up using. I'm going to use about whatever amount of ginger this is. You see how much ginger this is, guys? This round of ginger. I can't actually explain to you how much that is, but that's all that we'll be using today. Now, a lot of people that cook Indian food really often in their fridge, right? Especially people that grew up like an Indian family, they would have a container of garlic ginger paste in their fridge. Right? So people, they would typically like sort of blend it up beforehand. But because I don't make Indian food that often, right? I feel like I've never really needed to make that garlic ginger paste ahead of time. So thus, I'm just using a little bit right now and we'll just mince it up every single time. But if you find yourself cooking Indian food all the time, you may want to consider investing in either pre-made garlic ginger paste or make some of your own. So a coin of ginger and then 4 things of garlic. And guys, as always, when it comes to prepping garlic, I will be using my favorite device, my garlic press. Wait, is my broiler still on? Yeah, I think my broiler is still on. We're going to be using a garlic press because chopping garlic on a cutting board can get really, really sticky really quickly. So all that we've got to do, we're going to take our bench scraper and we're going to loosen up the skin from the clove itself by giving it a nice properly smash down. Give it a little smash, move on to the next one, give it a little smash. And you're going to do this for every single garlic clove that you have. And you might be asking me, oh, Daramgar, why are we doing this now instead of in the actual press itself? I find that the press doesn't do that good of a job in actually separating the skin. It can just sometimes get stuck in there and gets really, really annoying. But yes, exactly as Tarina says, if you guys would like, you can basically make your own garlic ginger press by throwing some into like a blender. Right, a bunch of garlic, a bunch of ginger into the blender. And if you find yourself using it often, you can just keep it in the freezer in like little cubes. Yeah, people do that all the time. I just don't use garlic ginger paste enough to actually justify doing that. Okay, that clove is now fully peeled, and that's the beauty of pressing it. I don't like using my knife for that because I just want to keep my knife for just chopping and slicing things. The bench scraper is a lot better for things like this, and we also don't have to worry about cutting ourselves on it. Okay. We're getting it done. Perfect. And I'm just going to really, really quickly, I'm going to cut off the dried ends of every single garlic clove because we don't really need these dried out butt ends or anything. Okay. And now, let's go ahead and throw these into the garlic press. Guys, I hate chopping garlic on a cutting board. It gets really, really sticky, especially as soon as you have like quite a few cloves to actually chop through. And I find that most knives are really inefficient. So, into the garlic press it goes. That's one. And that's two. Put it in there, jam it in, get it done. Wow, that took a lot of grip strength. Yeah, that one was definitely challenging. Okay, couple more to go through. And again, guys, with garlic, the finer that you mince it, the finer that you chop it, or in the case of a press, the more intense, the more pungent it ends up being. And that's the beauty of a garlic press. It just immediately gets you to that most pungent, that most powerful state without needing excessive chopping or mincing, which can be a really, really inefficient motion. And that's it, guys. That's all of our garlic. Nicely pressed out, 4 cloves, 3 of which will go into the Palak paneer itself, the rest of which will end up going into the rice, because we're going to be making a seasoned turmeric rice. It's going to be really delicious. And the rice, in a dish like this, guys, is really, really functional. It's really, really beautiful. The rice is able to soak up all of the curry. You want to eat a curry with rice. You want to make sure that you're eating it with some naan or maybe even like a roti or something, because it's able to soak up all of the sauce. It's able to soak up all of the gravy, as it would be called. Okay? So this is not the kind of a dish that you just want to eat by itself. Under no circumstances would you like to do something like that. Okay. Also, thank you so much for the sub, Growl. Hello, hello. Seasoned turmeric rice is a real love language. That's right. Okay, I'm going to just quickly clean up my cutting board because it's been getting a little bit messy here. Again, that's what's really nice about a bench scraper. It just lets you do that. Welcome on in. Hello, hello. Okay, let's glove up and let's mince up some ginger. And again, we can combine it with the garlic because it's just going to go in together. They're going to be added in. They're going to be fried at the same time. Does anybody have any questions about anything so far? Any comments, any concerns? It doesn't necessarily have to be about this dish either that we're doing today. We're doing 2 things. We're going to be doing, of course, the Palak paneer. So we've already made the cheese, right? It's currently being pressed now. We're pressing out all the liquid. We're getting the final texture from the paneer itself. We're going to be working on a turmeric rice. So Spaceberry asks, is cereal a soup? No, it is a salad. The milk is a dressing. It's a bread salad, effectively. This is a position that I've argued and stood behind many times. Okay, that's enough. Actually, chat, maybe not any question. I don't like these questions. So, guys, all I'm going to do is I'm going to slice up the ginger nice and thin. Okay? And I'm going to give the whole thing a nice little quarter turn. And we're just mincing it up. We're going to mince this basically as fine as it can go. Okay, because the goal, we're not looking to like bite into like a massive piece of ginger or anything. We're just looking for the ginger to melt in alongside the garlic. and just to flavor everything. So just keep it going, mince this up a couple of times. If you were doing a big batch, again, that's like a lot easier than having to mince this every single time. I tried to put this through a garlic press, it never worked out before. Okay. So chopping it up, guys, just processing all of this ginger. Okay, and we'll give that probably like 1 or 2 more passes through, because some of those chunks are still pretty big. You can also just sort of squish it down like so, if you'd really like to assist in that process, but it's not a big deal. Okay, and that should be fine. That's totally fine. Again, guys, if you're doing a big batch of garlic ginger paste, you can just use a blender for this. I just felt like it would be kind of silly to use my blender on this low of a volume of food. Okay, and that's it. A little bit of garlic, a little bit of ginger. I'm just going to go ahead and mix this up. And it's just going to sit out and chill until we're ready to properly cook with it all. This is the basis of so many different Indian dishes, guys. Garlic ginger paste is used in basically everything. You cannot have Indian cooking without garlic ginger paste. Is that clear? Does everybody understand me? You cannot. It is not, well, maybe you can sometimes. But this is almost everywhere. This is such a valuable thing to have already done, already made, okay? But if you don't cook it super often, then I just showed you how to make it. Okay. So, guys, let's do a little recap on everything that we've managed to prep so far. We have a little bit of finely chopped up onion. Okay, this is going to go into the Palak Paneer. Also, welcome on in, Mercury Shore. It's lovely to have you. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. We have some finely chopped up onion so that it melts into the curry because we don't want any big pieces of it. We have some sliced onion that is going to go into the turmeric rice that we're doing because I want some pieces of it inside. And then we have garlic ginger paste, which is going to go into both. At the moment, my cheese is pressing. We also managed to char up some plum tomatoes. So guys, we have some charred plum tomatoes that's going to end up getting blended up and being added into the curry as well. Okay. The other thing that we have to prep up the spice blend for today. My water is boiling. We're about to blanch our spinach. We're about to get that going. Pretty excited about that. That's just going to go good. We're going to press out the liquid, and then we're going to blend it up. So we have quite a bit to go through. Let me go ahead and drink some water. So, let's talk about the spices. Everybody, this is, of course, the heart and the soul of Indian cooking. It's always about the spices at the end of the day. So let's talk about what I have now. We have quite a variety. Guys, cumin seeds. The cumin seeds, we won't actually be grinding up today. Really traditionally in a lot of different Indian cooking, you would have some ground spices that get added later on. And then you have some spices that get sort of fried and added whole in the beginning that end up getting taken out. And this is going to be one of them. So, cumin seeds, some of my favorites. I love cumin seeds to death. We're going to do about 1.5 spoonfuls of it. We don't want the cumin to be overpowering. The cumin is going to add a beautiful earthiness to the whole thing. Okay, so a little bit of cumin seeds. Next up, a black cardamom pod. We only need one. We only need one black cardamom pod. These things are super intense. They're super citrusy. We only need one of these things. Okay. One black cardamom pod. Next up, we have some beautiful mustard seeds. Guys, mustard seeds, you can use yellow ones, you can use black ones. If you're using yellow ones, you're going to have to use slightly more because they're a little bit less intense in flavor. So I'm using about, however much that is, right? 2 spoonfuls. I'm not really measuring any of this, by the way. I'm going completely by feel. But the mustard seeds are going to be really delicious. We're going to fry all of this in the oil, okay, so that it gets nice and warm and beautifully toasted all the way through. My water is also now officially boiling, so we'll get to that in a second. Okay, and I think that actually does it for my whole spices. And then let's set up a little plate of my ground up spices already that I have. Okay? So let's set up a plate with the rest of my spices. I'm actually going to rinse off my knife because it was cutting acidic things and I don't want it to sit with all the acidic stuff because it is a carbon steel knife. It can and will rust if we don't baby it sometimes. So I'm just wiping that off really quickly. Thank you for your patience. Okay, let's get to the ground spices, guys. So, we have some beautiful garam masala. Garam masala includes maybe some of the spices that we just introduced and a couple of others. It is a spice blend. Every single brand, especially depending on like where it comes from, will have a slightly different garam masala. Okay? This one primarily has a lot of clove in it. It has a lot of clove in it, so it's really, really powerful. Has a little bit of chili powder in it as well for some smokiness. And this is going to be added later on in the process. We don't want too much garam masala because otherwise it gets a little bit too citrusy. Next, we have some ground fenugreek. Fenugreek is a really, really special one. It adds a certain albuminous that I feel like, this is just a spice that I feel like not enough people use. Let's give it a little smell after I end up opening this because this container is actually just on really, really tight. Come on, buddy, open up. Okay. Excellent. There is almost an onion-like quality to it, okay? Like an almost alum-y quality to it. So we're going to do another little spoon of that, not too much, of the fenugreek. Really delicious. Okay? That's good for the fenugreek. And then we're going to create a separate spice plate for the rice. And the rice is actually just going to have mustard seeds and cumin. Okay? Maybe kitsune. You're also going to be looking for asafoetida in terms of an onion replacement. I'm not sure where fenugreek comes from. Okay, so guys, this is what we need for the curry itself. Some cumin seeds, some mustard seeds, some black cardamom. Each of these adds a little something different to the party. Some garam masala, and then some fenugreek as well. And then, for the rice itself, we're just going to do a little plate of turmeric, mustard seeds, and cumin. We're going to be keeping this relatively plain. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that set up as well. Let's just get that stuff done and out of the way so that we don't have to worry about it. So, cumin seeds. Once again, another spoonful. We're doing a smaller spoonful because we're not making that much rice. Again, guys, I'm not measuring anything. I just wanted to get everything pre-portioned so it'll be a lot easier for us to work with. And let's get the mustard seeds out once more. So to finish us, the reason why I'm not steeping the fenugreek is because it's going to be added into the curry and effectively boiled anyways. So there is no reason to actually steep it. So a spoonful of the mustard seeds. And then, because we're going to be making a turmeric rice, these spices are going to end up getting fried. The turmeric itself, I'm going to separate it into a different container, okay? And I'm doing that because we don't really need to fry in the beginning like we would the other spices. And we're just adding in a small little spoon of that, or two. It's just going to stain the whole rice. It's going to make it really, really pretty. And I will be frying this in peanut oil. Yes, traditionally for something like this, because this is a Palak paneer, you would also be using ghee. I don't have any ghee and I didn't feel like making any for today. But let's walk through these spices one more time, guys. So we have 3 different actual plates of spices. This is going to be the spices for the rice. The turmeric to give the whole thing a really nice pretty orange color. Some mustard seeds and cumin seeds. For the actual curry itself, we're getting a little bit more fancy. We're getting a little bit more complicated. So we have some mustard seeds, some cumin seeds, and black cardamom. The reason these are separated is because these are all going to be frying in the oil. The ground spices are going to be added later on. This is the garam masala, and this is the fenugreek. Okay, and then all together, we're going to get this really, really beautiful spice blend. At the end of the day, we're going to get a really flavorful curry. I'm going to go ahead and set that behind me because that step has now been completed. Okay. I'm going to take a second, guys. I'm just going to put a couple of things away. I'm going to put some stuff back in the cupboards just to make sure that I'm staying nice and clean and organized as we go. So that can just go into my cupboard. Thank you for your patience, everybody. I know today has been a bit of a chaotic stream. I do apologize. I'm getting adjusted to my new haircut. I'm just getting into the swing of everything. I apologize if I'm like a little bit more messy than usual. But I'm trying my best to keep it together for all of you. So, everybody, do we need to do another recap? Do you guys want to figure out like what's happening? Or do you think we're good to keep on moving? I think I'm going to do a recap session. I think we could use one. Guys, today we're going to be making a Palak paneer. We're doing a spinach cheese curry. Also, welcome on in, Rude Weirdo. So, we've already accomplished making the cheese. It's currently being pressed for a total of another 27 minutes. We took some milk, we added some vinegar to it once it's been heated up to separate the curds from the whey itself. We got the curds, we strained it through a cheesecloth, and now we're pressing it under something really heavy. In fact, let's go ahead and open it up and see how that cheese is doing. Do you guys want to take a look at how the cheese is doing? You guys want to take a little sneak peek at it? In total, it has to press for an hour. It's been pressing for half an hour, so it has another half hour to go. But we can just open it up and take a little peek at it, and I think it'll be okay. So let's do that now. So, I'm going to take my Dutch oven off of it because it was pressing with something really nice and heavy on it. Let's go ahead and take a look. So it was just sitting on the sheet tray. Okay, let's take a look. How's it doing? Let's open it up. Ho ho ho, look at this. We got a little bit of paneer, guys. Now, it's a little bit wet, and I feel like I could have actually used another liter of milk, probably another quart of milk. But it's getting there. It's going, right? Now, I am noticing something. Take a look. Look how crumbly it is on this side. It's a good thing that we took a sneak peek at it. It's telling me that it's actually not pressing particularly evenly. Okay, because this side is mostly unpressed, whereas this side is very nicely pressed. So, we're just going to take it and we're going to gather it back up. We're going to make sure that we're folding it over nicely. I don't think the tortilla press would be enough weight. Would be what I would say here. Okay, we just want to make sure that we have a nice flat sheet. Okay, so just wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up. Also, thank you. So let's try this again, guys. Oh, let's do this side. Let's give it a rotation. Let's give the press a rotation because again, I just want to make sure that it is evenly pressing. So it's a good thing that we inspected it in the way that we did, right? We inspected it, we took a look at it, and we've decided, hey, you know what? This wasn't as even as it could have been. So I'm going to take this big old Dutch oven and I'm going to put it behind me. Okay, sweet. So it's going good. We're going to give it another 25 minutes of pressing, and then we're going to see what the final texture is like. So it's just going, we're just letting it do its thing. Yeah, nice and simple. Hydrate makes me drink water too, you know. That's what it does. It's a way of chat to tell me to drink some water. Okay. So, everybody, we have this big box of spinach. I'm gonna say something. This spinach kind of sucks. The spinach isn't the best. This is just some baby spinach in a box. I would preferably use adult spinach because not everything is about baby spinach. Baby spinach is best suited for salads because of how tender it is. But I really prefer adult spinach because it's cheaper, okay, by weight. And it just holds up better to cooking. But I had baby spinach. That's all that I had available to me today. So we just have some baby spinach. So we're going to blanch it. We have a big pot of boiling water. Let's get the station for that set up. So why are we boiling the spinach? Why are we blanching the spinach? Well, it's because it's going to reduce a lot in volume. Once it reduces in volume, we're going to be able to blend it up a lot easier. Okay? And then also, it's going to help preserve the color of the spinach. Because if we just blended up the straight raw spinach as it is, it would end up turning a little bit brown. And so by heating it a little bit, we're almost stabilizing it. Also, thank you, Dreamer. I appreciate it. I'm getting settled into the new hill. I'm getting settled into it. So, we have a big old pot of boiling water here that's been waiting for us ever so patiently, ready to go. And guys, there is no measurements for today. We have no measurements. I'm not going to tell you exactly how many grams of spinach or grams of this I'm going to be using it. We're just going to cook and we're going to feel it out and we're going to adjust as we go along, okay? So all that we're going to do is we need to set up a little station where we can put some like ice cubes in because we don't want the spinach to end up overcooking. We want to cool down the spinach, cool enough that we can easily blend it. And we don't want it to overcook. So let's go ahead and set that up now. I have a bowl, and I'm gonna fill it up with some ice cubes. A bowl, bam. I am concerned about how little space I have here, so I'm actually going to take my cheese and set it somewhere else for now. Come on, buddy. Up you go with me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get the bowl set up. Duolingo, there is no recipe. I'm just teaching you technique and theory and methodology. There is never a recipe. And yeah, Palak Paneer, it's an Indian spinach cheese curry, right? So the Palak component, of course, is the spinach, and the paneer is the cheese. Okay. So, a bunch of ice cubes. I have like these weird hexagon ice cubes. They're kind of cute. And I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this up with some water. And guys, this is to shock the spinach. This is so that when we blanch the spinach and take it out, through the carryover cooking, it doesn't end up overcooking. We take it out, we put it into the cool water, and it stops the cooking immediately. Okay? So that's why we're doing this. So, boiling water, ready to go for us today. I'm going to be using this tool. Guys, this is called a spider. This is one of my favorite kitchen tools. It's basically a strainer on a stick. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go batch by batch. Take a nice big handful of spinach and throw it in. Take a nice big handful of spinach, right? And just throw it on in. And then just dunk it in the water, submerge it. This can't take more than 30 seconds to a minute, guys. You're going to see immediately that texture change in the spinach. It's going to take 30 seconds. It's going to take a minute. We're not looking to boil the spinach to death. All that we're looking to do is wilt it down. And you will see how much volume it ends up losing in this process. So count with me. 10, 9, 8. And yes, you can use frozen spinach. You can use any kind of spinach for this. We're just using this. Actually, frozen spinach may be already cooked. Sometimes frozen spinach is already cooked. There we go, guys. That's it. Take it out using the spider and put it into your ice cold water. You don't want to cook it any longer. Otherwise, you're going to lose all of the nutrition and all the flavor of the spinach. The goal of this was purely to wilt it down. Okay, there's a couple of leaves left over, but I don't want to scrape because it's a metal tool. Okay, next batch of spinach going in, and we'll do one more. We just don't want to overcrowd this so we don't lose too much heat on it. Does everybody understand? Also, we'll be doing the same with some parsley. I'm going to be blending up some parsley in the same exact way as well. So I'm going to take some and I'm just going to throw some in while we just have this out. I have some parsley I want to use up, and I felt like doing this to it would be a really good way to use it up in the Palak Paneer. So give it a second, guys. Almost done. Just make sure that water is nice and cold when it goes in. Okay? And take it out. Well, actually, we'll give it another second. It still has not wilted enough for me. There we go. That should be good. And take it out. We're just wilting. We're breaking down the spinach. We're getting it all cooked. Okay? Beautiful. Guys, nice and easy, nice and simple. Stir it around. Make sure you're breaking up any big clumps of the spinach in there. Okay? And now last batch going in now. Take it and get it into the water. Whoop. I ended up losing a few leaves. Get back in there. Thank you very much. And so that's all we have to do, guys. All of that spinach now beautifully wilted down. Just giving that a second to do its thing because we've lost a lot of temperature throughout this process, so it just takes longer now. Just break it up. Break up those clusters. Okay? And take it out. That's it. Guys, that's all that there is to it. That's all that there is to wilt that spinach. And you can already tell how much volume was lost because all of it just easily fits into this bowl now. So just taking out those last leaves, making sure we're not wasting anything. We're thoroughly cooling it down. Let's shut off that heat. We no longer need this pot of boiling water. Guys, that's it. That's all it takes. My accent is thicker. Oh geez. I did not know that was the case, Big Zach. Hi, guys, let's take a look. Here we go, a bunch of wilted spinach. I know that doesn't sound particularly appealing, but look at how much volume was lost. right? We started from that big box of spinach, and now we can just basically fit it in a couple of handfuls. So we're just breaking up any clusters because sometimes it traps in hot water. We're making sure it fully cools off. Okay, and now let's get the blender station set up for this. Because the goal of this was to get it to a point that we can blend it down beautifully. Okay. Let's get a blender set up. But first, guys, we also have to blend up the tomato for today. We have to blend up the tomato for the curry itself. So let's get that set up. Let's head back on over to the stove. Boop. I just have a cutting board set up as a nice flat surface. Does anybody have any questions about this process at the moment? The tomatoes, we've charred them properly, and now we're going to make basically a tomato sauce that's going to get cooked down really, really beautifully. It's going to get really nice and sweet. And this one blender, it's going to be doing a lot of work for us today. Okay, just pop that in. Let's get those tomatoes inside. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. I'm getting some tomato juice on my hands. I'd like that off, please and thank you. All right, let's just blend it down. Let's blend that thing down. Slap that onto it. And let's go. What is going on with my blender? That got stuck in there. There we go. A little bit of tomato puree. Nice and easy. And this, we're going to end up cooking down. We're going to end up making a really, really delicious tomato sauce out of this. That's then going to go into the curry. It's going to be the base of the curry. This was the charred tomatoes, guys. We charred them so that we get the skins nice and blackened, so that we get the whole thing really nice and smoky. Okay? So, why did you just hiss at me? Who do you think you are? Watch it, buddy. You're not that guy. You're not that guy. Okay, that has now been officially blended down. I'm going to transfer this to a different container. Okay? And it's okay if there's some tomato remaining in it, because again, this is all going to go into the curry. So just get the majority of out. We want this part of the tomato to cook out, and it's okay if there's a little bit that gets added later on from the spinach. The spinach, after it has been blanched, it's actually not going to get cooked that much more. We're only going to basically heat it back up through for a couple of minutes. Ooh, that big pot of boiling water, you know what? I think I'm just gonna take it and I'm just gonna stick this thing into the oven. Just so that it's like not out here, not occupying space. Yeah, that's a good way to go about it. Okay, so that tomato is done. Let's go ahead and deal with the spinach, guys. So we wanna squeeze out as much of the water as possible. We wanna make sure, of course, that we're not getting any of the ice cubes, okay? So all you're gonna do is you're just going to pick some up in your hands and your paws, just like so, right? Take it and squeeze out any excess liquid from the blanching. It's okay if it's a little green, guys. You can be a little bit rough with it. We just don't want this thing to be too wet. Take it and into the blender it goes. No salad spinner, because this is wet, sticky, already cooked spinach. Actually, I've never used a salad spinner on blanched spinach. Can you do that? I have a feeling that it would like stick to the salad spinner too much because it's already like wet and floppy. But honestly, that's not a bad idea. Big Zach, I like the way that you're thinking. It would wobble around, right? But I've definitely like dried off tomatoes in a salad spinner. Yeah, I don't think it would actually be very effective because we need to squeeze the water out of it. Okay, guys, we're just going through this. We're just getting all that spinach, all that parsley as well. We're squeezing out the excess liquid from it. It's okay if there's some liquid because that liquid is also going to help the blending process itself. Okay, we're going through it all. We're getting it done. That ball goes in. And that's it, guys. That's all that there is to it. Nice and easy. So, guys, you remember that big box of spinach? You remember all of that spinach that we once had? That's it. It just fits into this little blender cup now. All of that spinach that was once there. Look at it. Look at it. Look how pathetic it is now. Reduced to a shell of its former self. Okay, let's get that blended up now. Let's head back on over to the stove where I have my blender set up. And then after I blend this, we'll do a recap session because then it'll be actually time for us to cook. Let's get that blender on it. Perfect. And blend up. Okay, it's a little bit too dry in the blender, it looks like. I'm going to just shake it up a little bit, and we might need a little bit more cooking liquid, or some of the blanching liquid. Yep, it's too thick, so it's not going to blend up properly. So all that we're going to do, guys, to compensate for that, we just need a little bit of water. We just need a little bit of liquid. I have some of that resting liquid where we iced it in. I'm just going to spoon in a certain amount until I feel like it'll help get things going. You just need a little bit of help get it started. And then it'll take care of itself. Hopefully. Shake it up a little bit. See if we can get the water distributed at all. Come on, buddy. Blend. Make a smoothie. It might be too dry. It's just looking like it's too dry. Okay. We're going to just spoon in a little bit more liquid. That's all we're going to do. Until we get a lovely spinach puree. Okay. Let's try that one more time. I put in some water. Let's see how this goes. There we go. That's blending. That's doing what it needs to do now. Shake it up a little bit because there's some stuck to the bottom. There you go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, the container isn't too hot, so it's telling me it's not like getting too hot or anything. We don't want to over blend this. We don't want to overheat this or anything. Smells good, looks good. That's a spinach puree. Nice. Okay, everybody, we've done the majority of the prep. Who is ready to do a bit of a recap session? I'm going to take a second. I'm going to put a couple of things away before we actually get into the recapping. But who is ready for the recap session? I would love to know. I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, from everybody watching, from everybody listening. It's time to wake up. When I give you a question like that, I want to hear a yes, chef. I want to hear a me, chef. I want to make sure that everybody is getting this. Okay. Just putting a few things away. Beautiful. That's all done. Excellent. So, chat. Hi, my little sous chefs. That's you. We're making today 2 dishes. We're making Palak Paneer, and then we're also going to be doing a turmeric rice. For the Palak Paneer, Palak is spinach and Paneer is cheese. This is a beautiful Indian curry. It's vegetarian. It's really, really delicious. The first step was we needed to make some cheese, and guess what? We made homemade cheese. It's currently sitting under this Dutch oven to get a lot of weight on it, to press it down for another 8 minutes. Okay, for the actual spinach portion, let me show you what my spinach looks like, guys. Let me show you my spinach. For my spinach, we blanched a whole box of spinach, and then we blended that thing down. We blended it down. I'm going to cover some of it with a little bit of oil, just to make sure it doesn't oxidize. Actually, I don't need to do that. It's already been blanched. It's not as reactive as it was before. It's not going to oxidize. This is going to finish the curry that we're doing. Okay? This beautiful spinach puree. I'm just going to get a spoon and just break things up a little bit. So we have a little bit of blanched spinach, a little bit of blanched parsley as well. The parsley isn't traditional in a Palak Paneer, but I thought it would be a very nice addition because I had some to get rid of. Okay? It doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. It doesn't have to be, exactly like a cream or anything. It just has to be fully broken down like so. Okay, this I'm going to go ahead and set behind me. I have no use for this at the moment. I almost just dropped that entire thing of spinach, which would have been actually catastrophic. Okay, next, we have also some charred and blended tomatoes. This is going to give the whole thing a very pleasant sweetness and acidity and a little bit of smokiness. Next, let's talk about all the spices that we have, guys. Let's talk about all of the spices. So, for the palak paneer, we have cumin seeds, mustard seeds, black cardamom. We have fenugreek. We have garam masala as well. These are going to go in the end. These are going to go into the beginning. Then, we have all of these different alliums here ready and waiting for us to go. Oh no, there is no spice toasting, only spice frying today. We have some onions, some chopped up onions. This is going to go into the curry. I did a small dice on it because I wanted it to melt in and give the whole thing a lot of sweetness. For the rice, I have it instead sliced up. This is garlic ginger paste that we made using some garlic and ginger. I had about 4 cloves of garlic and some ginger. This is going to go both into the rice and into the palak paneer. And then for the spices for the rice, I have some turmeric, some mustard seeds, and cumin seeds. The turmeric is going to stain the whole thing, and the cumin seeds and mustard seeds are going to make it nice and aromatic. And guys, that's the majority of the prep done. The last thing that we're going to do, let's slice up some parsley. Because the entire point of this dish today is I had some parsley in my fridge that I wanted to get rid of. Right? So we have all of this parsley. Some of it is going to go into the rice, and some of this is going to be a little garnish on top and just make the whole thing really nice and pretty. I just wanted to use up my leftover parsley for today. That was my intention, that was my goal, and so we will fulfill that goal, that ambition that we have. So, guys, really quickly, I'm going to go through this and I'm going to pluck off the leaves from the stems. You don't have to do this, especially if you're going to say blend it down. But because this will be sliced up and in pieces, I find that the stems are a little bit too fibrous. So, we're processing all of it. We're getting it broken down. Just getting it done, guys. Getting it done. Nice and easy. Oh, my waste bowl is getting all filled up. Let's dump that out. Just processing it, getting it done, guys. Nice and simple. Does anybody have any questions thus far? Also, welcome on in, Sam. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. How'd you find the stream? Okay. And then, after we're done slicing the parsley, we'll actually begin the final stage, which is the cooking portion. The cooking portion, actually, surprisingly, will take basically the least amount of time. Chef, what's my favorite dinosaur? I don't think I like dinosaurs very much. I don't think I have an answer for you. So, we plucked the parsley off of the stems. Guys, we're going to take all this parsley, we're going to bundle it up in our hands, and we're going to slice it. We're not going to chop it. We're not going to destroy it. We're not going to cleave it like an axe. We're instead just going to slice this parsley, and I'm going to show you how. You need a nice sharp knife. Well, welcome on in, Sam. It's lovely to have you. We have all of this parsley. We bundle it up, and we don't chop it. We don't use a vertical motion. We're using as little vertical force as possible. So we're just pushing. We're pushing, and we're pushing as thinly as possible, and we're getting a very nice fine slice on this. If you chop it, you're going to end up crushing your herbs. You're going to end up exposing and crushing a lot more cells, and it's going to oxidize and lose its flavor and aroma and turn brown as it sits here. So we're just babying the parsley. We're babying it all the way through, guys. We're being so gentle with this. We're not destroying this. We're not hacking at it. I hate it when I see people take herbs and they hack at it with a vertical motion. You're ruining and wasting all the flavor potential of your herbs. Okay? And we just give it a quarter turn, and we're continuing to just slice and slice and slice and slice. All the way through. It's okay if there's some big leaves left for this, guys. This is going to be for garnish. Some of this is going to go into the rice. I'm going to take it and put it onto the plate. And with that being said, I believe we have done every single little bit of chopping that we've needed to for today. Take my handy dandy little bench scraper, scoop it up, put it onto the plate, and we're done. That's all the chopping. It's time for us to actually properly begin cooking. You want to make sure that all of your prep was done in advance. You want to make sure that you prep, because when it's actually time to cook, you don't want to run back and forth between the cutting board and the stove. Okay? So Big Zac, it does, but it only does so temporarily. And then it oxidizes and loses its flavor. It will naturally extract in the cooking. But the releasing of the flavor with garlic is because of pungency. It's because you're producing a little something called allicin. I forgot about the actual chemical process that goes into that, but the finer you chop garlic, the more pungent it actually gets. Okay? So, that's a garlic specific thing going on there though. That's very exclusive to garlic. So, I'm gonna wipe off my station. I no longer need this cutting board for anything at all today. It has done its job. The cheese is almost done pressing. Guys, you excited to look at the cheese? You excited to see the cubes of cheese that we're gonna get? The homemade cheese that we did from a liter of milk. I'm excited to see how it came out. We've been pressing it this whole time. I'm just cleaning up my station. It's been pressing for an hour, if you can believe it. Okay. I'm not sure if you can believe it, but if you can, well, there you go. Okay, guys, it's time for us to look at a beautiful homemade cheese. It's been sitting here, it's been so patient, it's been so good to us. It's been sitting here under my beautiful Dutch oven. And now, guys, my Dutch oven has completed its job. Everybody, please say thank you to the Dutch oven. Make sure the bottom isn't wet. The Dutch oven has done its job. We no longer need that weight. And now, let's take the cutting board off, which helped us to evenly distribute the weight. Okay? Let's open up a little package. And guys, some homemade paneer. There it is. And now you can see it's a little bit more intact than it was before. It's not falling apart as much because we ended up pressing it. Now let's just cut this up into cubes and we're done with it. So some of the edges are still crumbly. It's not seasoned, but it's also not acidic. It just has that pleasant natural sweetness of fresh cheese. Look at that. I made my own paneer, that's right. Because guess what? Store-bought paneer is way too expensive. Store-bought paneer is like $8, $9 for what probably took like 2 quarts of milk to make. Absolutely not happening. So, the cheese on the edge, it's a little bit too crumbly, which I'm not the happiest about. It tells me that I didn't get as even of a press as I should have. But let's just slice this up into little cubes. This is a very nice way of using up excess milk as it was historically done. And by the way, if you want a completely vegan version of this, tofu makes for an excellent substitute because the goal isn't for this cheese to melt. The goal of paneer is just to have really, really pleasant cubes of cheese in your dish. And we're going to be using up all of this for today. So yeah, my edges were a little bit too crumbly, which I'm not the happiest about. Guys, it's my first time making paneer. I've done queso fresco before, but they're looking for it to intentionally crumble. But yeah, guys, this is one of those things that I can actually firmly say there is a really good vegan substitute for this. You can just use firm tofu. Yep, not the pressing of the tofu, that part doesn't really matter. Okay, guys, take a look. Maybe not as thick as I would have liked it. I could have used another quart of milk to make this. But now, we have all of these beautiful cubes of paneer. The center ones, these got really nicely pressed. The ones on the edge, a little bit too crumbly. And that just tells me I just didn't press it evenly enough. But it's okay, it happens. It's my first time doing this. It's beautiful. Look at this cheese. Look at this cheese. Guys, are you seeing this cheese? I'm not sure if you're seeing this cheese right now. Chad, are we seeing this cheese? Let me get a yes, chef, please and thank you. So yeah, this stuff is a little too crumbly. Delicious though. Soft and creamy, perfect. That's excellent. Guys, homemade paneer. Do you understand how easy and cheap that was? No special equipment. You can even have done this with a paper towel and not a cheesecloth. So easy, so simple. I think this is something that I want to get slightly better at. I want to do a better job of this next time. Because like again, my edge pieces were a little too crumbly here. But ultimately, that's some homemade paneer and it came out excellent. I'm going to get better at this over time, so please forgive me for where it's at its current state. We no longer need that cheesecloth. That's done its job for us. Okay, guys. We are now entering the final stages of today. Well, not quite, because we still have a lot of cooking to do. We have to actually now make the curry. I'm going to wipe down my station one more time, because it got a little bit too wet here. Guys, let's take a look at everything that we have accomplished so far. We're making today Palak Paneer, a spinach cheese curry. We made some homemade cheese. John Dahlia, thank you so much for stopping by. Okay, some homemade cheese. Milk, vinegar, we pressed it ourselves. Beautiful little cubes that we have here. Again, not the texture I was actually going for. It's a little too crumbly. But that has to do with the fact that I didn't evenly press it. So that's a little bit on me. Okay, let's talk about everything that's going into the curry today. We have some we have some finely chopped onion. Okay, the onion is going to give the curry really beautiful sweetness. Then we have some garlic ginger paste that we made. Garlic ginger paste is a fundamental flavor in Indian cooking. You see this in so many different dishes. Next, we have some sliced onions. This is for the turmeric rice that we're doing. It's going to give that some nice sweetness, and it's going to give it a very pleasant bite. Okay, next, I have here some beautifully charred and pureed tomatoes. 2 tomatoes that we charred, so that it gets a little bit of smokiness, and we pureed it down, and that's going to be the base of the Palak Paneer. Next, guys, we have some mustard seeds, some cumin seeds, and black cardamom. Black cardamom for the zestiness, for the citrusiness it has. Some cumin for the earthiness, and some mustard seeds for, I don't know how to describe the way the mustard tastes. And then we have some fenugreek and garam masala. Fenugreek is going to give it that aliyami punch, and the garam masala is just a spice mix that you see everywhere in Indian cooking. And then for the rice itself, the spices that we have for the rice, guys, we have the cumin seeds, we have the mustard seeds, and we have the turmeric, so a lot simpler, but this is going to stain it a very beautiful orange color. And then, guys, finally, for the Palak Paneer, this is going to be the final touch, of course, the spinach, the palak. So we blanched some spinach with some parsley, and we blended it down. And then, for the turmeric rice, we're also going to finish it with some parsley. Oof, that was a lot of prep. That was a lot of prep. Everybody, let's check in. Chat, we doing okay? Chat, you guys doing all right? This is also a good time for anybody that's new here. I have a Patreon. If you would like to support what I do, I want to teach people how to cook at home. You can type in !mark Patreon if you would like. Any and all support that really helps, because I would like to be able to do this full time. You can type in !mark Patreon. You can scroll down. Otherwise, a sub would be really appreciated. You can also type in !mark tip or donate. As well, because groceries are expensive, and I would like to be able to do this full time. Okay, I am going to go ahead and finish just setting all of this stuff behind me. Takes a second to get that done. Okay, beautiful. And now we are going to be approaching the final actual cooking for this today. Exciting. I do want to measure out and see how much basmati I have. How much basmati do I even have at the moment? Okay, that's about half a cup's worth. I will make do with what I have. I'll make do with what I have. Country girls make do. Okay. Guys, really quickly, this is a good time to ask me any kind of cooking questions that you may have. I'm going to be washing up my rice right now, just to get rid of all that excess starch on it. So if you have any cooking questions whatsoever, now is your time to be able to ask me. Now is your time to go ahead and do so. Actually, you know what? Let's get the rest of the stuff for the rice started, and then I'll wash it up. How's that sound? Because we're just going to be making it all in this one vessel. You guys want to get cooking? You guys want to get started on the rice? I want the rice done first, just so that's like waiting for us, you know? So, let's begin. Everybody, on my stove at the moment. Oh, is my keyboard dead? I think my keyboard is dying. Oh no. Okay, that's fine. On my stove at the moment, I have a little stainless steel saucepan. This is where I'm going to be making the rice itself. I'm going to be putting in some neutral oil. You can use ghee, you can use mustard seed oil if you have any. I'm just using a little bit of peanut oil. And in this oil, we're going to be frying my spices and my onion and my garlic ginger paste. Okay, so we're just letting that oil heat up a little bit. We're going to start by frying off the spices a little bit. Then we're going to add in the onions. Well, hold on. My order of operations is incorrect. We're going to start by frying the spices because they're whole. They're whole and it's still in their seeds. So they're not going to burn as easily. Then we'll add in the onions and then we'll finish it with some garlic ginger because the garlic ginger tends to burn the easiest. And then we'll add in the rice, we'll add in some water, we'll add in the turmeric, and then we'll just cover it and let it go for 20 minutes. Bring it up to a boil, drop it to a simmer. In the meantime, while that oil is heating up for us nice and slowly, I am going to go ahead and just wash up this rice. I'm going to show you guys how to make perfect stovetop rice. There is no need for a rice cooker on the stream. Is that clear? I want to get a yes chef from everybody watching. Just washing up my rice. I have less basmati than I thought I did. And again, you don't have to use basmati. It's just like traditional to use in a lot of Indian cooking. You can use jasmine. I mean, you can use Haigur rice. I love Haigur rice. It's one of my favorites. You can use what you have available to you. It's just that basmati, you just see it everywhere in Indian cooking. So we're heating up the oil. We're going to get it nice and hot. And I'm washing and cleansing my rice at the moment. Again, if you have any questions, now is your best time to ask me. Anything at all, because remember, I'm here to help you learn how to cook. Also, I am quite happy. I saw that we had like quite a few new people in today. I'm just happy to have you guys. I'm happy to see you. Okay, my rice seems to be nicely washed. I'm just gonna have it chill out for a little bit. I don't even need to strain it or anything. My oil is now nicely heated up. So now we're going to start by first frying up my cumin seeds and my mustard seeds in this oil. We want to make sure that we're mixing it though, because we don't want any of these spices to burn. They're going to start popping. They're going to start popping out of here. That's okay. It happens. Just, ooh. Okay, maybe that's popping too aggressively. Onions, stop the popping. Onions, make it chill out. Please, and thank you. Guys, that was a little too aggressive. That was a little bit much. We do not need that much popping. My oil might have been heated a little bit too much. Just fry up the onions. The onions have successfully stopped the popping from occurring. My kitchen is now covered in mustard seeds. Okay, we're just frying up the onions a little bit. We're going to get some color developed on it. We're not looking to burn the spices or anything. I think my oil was just too hot. But we are looking to get a little bit of color developed on these onions now. We lowered the heat now. And we're going to hit the whole thing with a good amount of salt. We don't want, by the way, we don't want the rice to be too salty. We want the curry itself to actually be the seasoning for the rice because we want the rice to be able to soak it up. We just want a little bit to get it started. So a little bit of, salt goes into the onions themselves. I mean, if you smell it, it smells like the fried cumin. It smells like the fried mustard seeds as well. It smells pretty wonderful at the moment. And we're just getting that going a little bit. We're just going to get a little bit of color developed. We don't want to cook this too long. We're not looking to like really deeply caramelize the onions because we don't really want to burn those spices or anything. We just want to give them a little start, guys. Just give them a little start, give them a little help, and it'll be great. It'll all work out. And the turmeric, by the way, we're not frying the turmeric because we're just going to add it in last. It's already like a ground spice. So if we add it now, it'll just end up burning instead. And all of the salt that we added, even though these onions may seem a little bit too salty at the stage, I promise you, it's just going to end up dissolving in a liquid. It's going to end up dissolving in a rice, and the rice itself will be perfectly seasoned. Okay. I do just want to taste, just in case, are my spices actually heavily burnt? Because if the spices are burnt, then the rice will taste burnt. I just want to make sure that my oil wasn't too hot in the beginning. No, that's actually perfect, and it's actually really delicious. Just definitely too salty at the moment, but that's okay. Remember, the salt itself, it's going to end up leveling out. Everything got nice and toasted. Okay, and again, we're not looking to really develop any deep color. We just wanted to give the onions a bit of an extra start so they're not just straight up boiled in all of this. And now, guys, we're going in with 1 spoon. Remember the garlic ginger paste that we made? A little bit of the garlic ginger paste going in. The rest of it we need for the curry itself. A little bit of garlic ginger. Mix it up, fry it up. You want to get rid of all the raw taste from the garlic and the ginger. Just keep that going. Keep that constantly stirring. You don't want it to burn. Okay. Smells wonderful, guys. It smells like the mustard seeds. It smells like the cumin seeds. It smells like the ginger. It smells like the garlic. Okay. And guys, remember, seasoning your rice, it's completely subjective. It just depends on the way that you're going to use it. If your rice is just going to end up being the staple and like the base of something, you don't have to always season it. But I just want to give it some extra love. Okay, I'm shutting off the heat because I don't want my turmeric to burn. I'm adding in the turmeric and I'm mixing it in. I'm staining my onions. I'm staining the garlic, ginger, the rest of the spices. Right? So in it all goes. But you want to make sure that it's not sticking or squelching on the bottom. And now, guys, the washed rice that we had, that half a cup of basmati, all of that is going in now. Perfect. And we're going to mix everything thoroughly all the way around. We want to lift everything from the bottom. Okay? And I'm also just going to add some more water in here because it's really dry in there. We're just lifting everything from the bottom and incorporating it back up through the rice because we don't want the onions and the spices to just stick to the bottom and burn. We don't want any scorched turmeric on the bottom. We want everything to get nicely stained. Remember, we're off the heat. We don't have any heat at the moment. Okay, but we will in a second. So just getting all that process, getting all that mixed up, making sure that the onions, the spices, everything is as folded in as it can be. Okay, there you go. And now we need a little bit more water. The more water you add, the more mushy it's going to be. The less water you add, the more granular it's going to be. I want a really nice, soft textured rice. So I'm looking for a little bit of water above the rice itself. Just a little bit. Not too much, not too little. This is something that you're going to have to get a little bit of experience with. There is no exact ratio for this. Okay? Maybe a touch more water. My intuition is telling me that this is going to end up being a little bit too dry with that amount of water. Okay. Here we go. That looks good now. Okay, guys, I'm going to get this onto the heat. I'm going to get this onto a boil now. We bring it up to a boil, drop it to a simmer, and we cook it for 20 minutes or so. That's all that there is. Nice and easy. I'm just going to get this onto a different burner. It's just going to hang out over here, back here, guys. We mix it up. You can see already that beautiful, beautiful color. Bring it up to a boil on a medium heat. We don't want a super high heat because then we'll end up scorching the bottom. And now, guys, it's time to actually properly make the Palak Paneer. I have here my big, beautiful Mavier pan, my clad Mavier pan. So I've learned my lesson about overheating my oil. I'm going to use some more peanut oil. And again, traditionally you would either use ghee or mustard seed oil, but I'm using peanut oil because that's what I have. You want to use a nice neutral oil for this. You don't want to use an olive oil or something. And we need a generous amount of oil. Okay, we need that much oil that's going inside at the moment. And before my oil is hot, I've learned my lesson. We're going to be doing the spices in the cold oil because if the oil was hot, they would just end up splashing up and all over the place. Okay? So get them in there and just get them moving around. This is my mustard seeds. These are my cumin seeds and my black cardamom pod as well. All in together at the moment, everybody. We're adding them in first because we want them to flavor the oil. We want them to flavor the oil. We want them to toast a little bit. And they're going to make the entire dish super aromatic and super beautiful. Okay? You can see that bottom is absolutely covered. It's on a medium heat, guys. And then as soon as this starts popping, we're going to then add in the onions. My order of operations was just a little bit incorrect. How'd you ignite peanut oil, Zach? You need a lot of heat to do that. So just moving it around, mixing it around. My mustard seeds, my cumin seeds, looking gorgeous. And the oil's already getting super aromatic. I mean, you'd really have to heat up oil to ignite it like that. Again, we're not trying to burn these spices, guys. We're just slowly bringing it all up to bringing it all up to temperature. And these spices, by the way, you'll see that there's a lot of variation from like household to household. There is no exact recipe for this. A lot of people, they do it differently. You can add in, you can remove some spices that you want. Some people, they do it like with cinnamon and with clove. I didn't want cinnamon and clove. I wanted like a much more simple flavor profile on this one. Okay. So take it and move it around, mix it around. And we don't want this to go too long because it's still going to fry when we add in the onions. We just want these to get nicely and beautifully toasted. Okay? The spices are going, they're looking really good at the moment. My rice, by the way, I don't know if you guys can tell, my rice is now beginning to bubble. Once it's boiling, we're going to put a lid on it, drop the heat, and cook it for 20 minutes. And we'll have some beautiful rice to go along with everything. Okay? I see that my rice is now officially boiling. I'm dropping the heat to a low heat, and now just go low and slow. The higher your heat, it's not going to necessarily cook faster, but the bottom will end up scorching more. So you don't want a heat that's too high. If you don't want any toasted bottom on your rice, then you should use a non-stick pan. If you use a non-stick pan, the bottom won't end up toasting as much. With the stainless steel pan, it will. And some people enjoy it, like me. Other people don't. Okay, my spices are toasted. My mustard seeds, my cumin seeds, my black cardamom. We're adding in my onion now. All of my chopped up onion going in. Beautiful. Let's fry up this onion. Let's get this nice and golden. Look at all this onion, guys. Cover it in the spices. It smells incredible. It's really, really aromatic at the moment. Okay. And we're going to be stirring it often. We want to stir it often so that none of those spices end up burning, guys. You don't want to burn your spices. You don't want to waste this beautiful pot of curry that we're making. We're going to add some salt in as well. We're going to season the whole thing in layers. Add in some salt and mix it all around. And mix it and mix it. It smells fantastic at the moment. There we go. Does anybody have any questions about this process so far? We're making a beautiful Palak paneer. We're doing it completely from scratch. We made our homemade cheese. We pureed and charred some tomatoes. We're giving this dish a lot of love. This is a lot of components. Okay, but at the end of it, it's all going to be worth it. It's all going to be so delicious. Okay? So we're just frying up these onions. We're stirring it often to make sure that my spices aren't burning, my onions aren't burning. It's in a generous amount of peanut oil. You could also use ghee for this. I just didn't have any ghee on hand. So peanut oil I chose because it's nice and neutral. And I'm scraping up the sides because the spices tend to sometimes stick there. Okay? Darling Hell's Kitchen when? I will never be on Hell's Kitchen, guys, because I do not like Gordon Ramsay. Everybody paying attention. Everybody following along this process so far. We're being nice and patient. We're giving these onions some color so that we get to properly brown them. We're evaporating some moisture and we're building up sweetness in the curry by the process of browning them. If we just threw the onions in and cooked them for 5 seconds, there would have been no point in even trying that process of browning them. But we're browning them, we're getting them nice and golden. Okay, we're not going for like a full caramelized onion or anything. We just want to develop some sweetness, my friends. It smells great, it looks great. We're going to then build the gravy, right, as it's called in Indian cooking. We're going to build the gravy. We're going to build the sauce with those spices, with the onions, with the ginger garlic, with the tomato. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, I would probably still accept an invite. I don't know if I would apply. Nobody gets invited onto cooking shows. You gotta apply to that kind of stuff. Okay. Sweet, just catching up on some notice, guys. Okay, and let's take it and let's mix it up, guys, because again, we don't want the spices to burn, we don't want the onions to burn. If they do, your entire curry from the bottom up, it's basically ruined. All of it is going to taste burnt, and you don't want that. So, that's about as far as I'm going to push it. It's nice and slightly golden. We got a little bit of sweetness out of it. And now it's going to continue to brown as we add in, guys, the garlic ginger paste. The garlic ginger paste. This is fundamental. This is essential to all Indian cooking, especially in something like a Palak Paneer. So we're adding in the garlic ginger paste. You see this everywhere. If you cook Indian food often, you want to keep a thing of frozen garlic ginger paste, as many homes do. If you don't do it often, then you'll just keep making it too oily like I do. And then we're frying it off. We don't want to cook this longer than a minute. We want to make sure that we're continuously stirring because it's full of sugar, it's full of stuff that can easily burn. Okay? And it smells gorgeous. The oil is getting flavored. The spices are all beautifully toasted now. Okay, it's going. It's going, it's going. Okay, I think that's enough frying of the spices. I think that's enough frying of the garlic ginger paste. Okay. I don't think, did you just say duck nodders, Tarina? I'm not really sure what you would do with duck heads. I've never made a stock out of like duck heads and chicken heads before. Okay, guys, the pureed tomatoes, they're going in now. And just stir it up, make sure it doesn't splatter too much. And we're going to cook out some of the raw taste of the tomatoes. We're building the sauce, guys. We're building the gravy for this palak paneer. It smells wonderful at the moment. Don't really worry about the salt. We'll add some more salt later on to the process. And now we want to cook out the raw taste. We don't want raw tomatoes. But in Indian cooking, you don't typically see tomatoes that are stewed for hours and hours like you would in Italian cooking. In Indian cooking, a lot of the tomatoes, they're cooked somewhere in the range of like 15 to 20 minutes maximum. Because they like to really, really preserve some of the acidity and some of the wetness of the tomato instead of like the really, really deep roasted, let's say like a marinara sauce or something. Right? That's not what we're going for. We just want to get this slightly reduced. We want to cook out some of the raw taste of the tomatoes. But this happens pretty fast. We need some of that moisture. We just don't want this to taste like raw, pureed tomatoes. Beautiful. It's looking really good at the moment, guys. Guys, are you excited about this? Are we excited about this curry? And then we're going to finish it with some cream, just to make it really nice and like viscous and rich. Some people, they blend down cashews. If you want to make it like vegan and they would use tofu or something. I'm going to use a splash of cream at the end because I like cream. You can't go wrong with a bit of cream. I don't think, at least. Okay, and also at this stage, we can add the rest of our dried spices. Remember the garam masala and the fenugreek? We can just go ahead and dump that into the pot as well. I didn't measure it out or anything. It may be too much. If it is, we'll live with those consequences. It's going to stain the whole thing, and that's okay. We're just gonna let this cook down, guys. We're just gonna let it cook. Now my heat is a little bit too high. It can end up scorching on the bottom. So we don't want it to be on like really, really high heat. We just want to slowly cook it up. Okay? Oh my God, my stream announcement today on Twitter. People are loving the new haircut. Whoa. You guys are so sweet. Thank you. You guys make me feel good. I appreciate it. Okay, we're cooking down the tomato. It smells incredible. We still haven't added the spinach, guys. Remember, the spinach is going to be the last addition. And we're going to be reducing sugar in the chest. It depends on how wet your tomatoes are. I was using plum tomatoes, so they're really, really fleshy. Okay? But the goal right now is to definitely reduce it a little bit. We want to get rid of some of the tomato water, and we want to cook out some of the acidity of the tomatoes. Right? But we don't want it to scorch on the bottom. That's really, really important that we don't do that. So make sure you're scraping it up, especially the sides of the pan, that you're going all the way around this thing, that you're flipping it up. Okay, I'm also going to taste it to see how it is. It's going to be too intense because the bulk of it is going to be the actual spinach. It does look like chili because if you think about it, a lot of the spices are essentially what would be in chili, right? If you think about the cumin, if you think about what could be in the garam masala. Let's give it a taste. Oh. Guys, that is so flavorful. That is so flavorful. That is so good. The mustard seeds, the cumin seeds, everything is just coming through now. In fact, that is already really, really sweet because of the onions. Because of the tomato. I don't think this is going to actually need that much more cook time. We're going to soon add in the spinach. Guys, that mixture, this is the seasoning for the spinach. This is essentially the seasoning for the spinach. This is the gravy. This is the base of it. That is good. That is good stuff. Hope it's edible. Oh, Audio Murphy, that's a very negative way to frame it, isn't it? I'm going to switch over to my silicone spatula because I want to really, really scrape up the sides. But I want to really get into it. I want to really make sure that nothing is going to waste here. So silicone spatula is very good for that. Okay. I'm going to give that another taste. I'm going to cook that for a few minutes more. But that already tastes pretty incredible. It's full of spices, it's full of aromatics, it's full of flavor. Does the wooden spatula add flavor? It does not. I'm afraid it does not. And you're okay, Audio Movie. You're just being a little bit silly. And guys, by the way, there is a very specific reason why I'm also doing this. Indian food, especially where I'm at in, New York City, I find that this happens with Indian food and Korean food. For whatever reason, some of the simplest dishes made out of the cheapest ingredients are so expensive. And yes, going out to a restaurant, there's like a whole experience that you end up paying for. But sometimes I just want casual Indian food. And there isn't a lot of cheap, casual Indian food in my area. This is the kind of a thing that I want to be able to eat, especially because of how full of vegetables and how full of flavor it can be. Okay? And I want to show how doable it is in a home setting. My final stream, Serena. Oh no. I suppose so, Big Zach. Like, yes, you'd be scraping up fond, but it doesn't matter as long as you have any tool that's scraping up the fond. Okay, guys, we're just cooking this stuff out. We're cooking this mixture out. Again, we're scraping up the bottom because you can see it's starting to stick now. A couple more seconds, and then I'm going to add in the spinach. And we may need to end up thinning this out with some water, okay? Because the idea wasn't just to reduce this, it was to just build up the sweetness and everything, okay? Let's add in my spinach. In it all goes this green sludge. I think I'm going to end up doing some water in here for sure. Because this is way too thick at the moment. This is definitely too thick. So I'm going to use some of the water in this container to clean it up. Oh, that was too much liquid. Oh no. Okay. Let's do a big splash of water in here. And again, we can just cook it out. We can always just cook it out again, okay? Let's get that heat up. Also, Saint Rodent, thank you so much for the sub. How long have I been stirring for? This was like 5-6 minutes. All right, guys, let's get this all mixed in. Look at this beautiful palak. Look at this beautiful spinach. We're going to get all of that gravy nicely folded in, and this doesn't need to cook for long. We just want to get the spinach slightly heated through. It's already been cooked in the blanching process. I still have some more on the bottom of my container that I would like to get out though. We just want to get all of the flavors integrated. We just want to get the spinach back heated through and just cook that for like a few more minutes. But we're just finishing it with the spinach. We're not really cooking it down anymore. At this stage, at least. Super easy, guys, super simple. Let's stir it back through. We don't need to add the lid because, again, we just want to be consistently stirring this to make sure nothing is burning at any point in this process. Beautiful. Okay, we're also going to need salt because if you remember, we only added a little bit of salt in the beginning to the onions themselves to help them cook. We're going to need some more salt at this stage. The paneer itself isn't particularly salty. None of these other components were salted. So we really need that additional help. Right? Because you have all these other seasonings. You want this to also be able to season the rice effectively. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay? That is so good. It's going to need some more salt. That is incredibly flavorful. Oh, guys, this is so good. No, Audio Murphy, this is Indian. Not Middle Eastern. We're going to do a little bit more salt in here, but that is so good. That is incredible at the moment. That is super, super flavorful. And now, you don't want this to boil too aggressively because it'll start popping all over the place. And you don't want it to really squelch either. So mix it all around. Mix it all the way around. We're just heating the spinach back up through. We're seasoning it with all the spices. We're letting everything melt in together. Okay? Let's give that another taste. How's this doing? How we doing? Oh, that's good. Guys, that is so good. That is wonderful. Okay, and now we're going to do a little splash of cream and cook that out too. A little splash of cream going in, or a big splash, depending on how much you like. Just to give the whole thing another dimension. of flavor and creaminess. It's going to lighten everything up in color as well. It looks very beautiful going in. Ooh, I ended up splashing. Oh no. Okay. Lovely. I'm going to give that another taste. Again, I'm just checking for seasoning. I'm seeing if it needs anything. But for me, that is so good. Though, it does need more salt. I keep tasting it, and I'm like, every time I think this needs more salt. Because again, it's a lot of spinach. Guys, we used an entire box of spinach. It's been blended down. It's been blanched down. Okay, everybody. And now let's add the paneer part of Palak paneer. It's time to add in the final component. This we just want to basically heat on through really nicely, really gently. The cheese, it's not going to melt in. You just want beautiful cubes of cheese throughout all of it, and we're just going to heat it back up, and that's it. It's done. Everybody, homemade Palak paneer. No turmeric. There was none at all. There was no salt before we actually ended up sauteing things. Let's give it another taste. Wonderful. Guys, that's it. That's the whole dish. Just stir that cheese on through. And again, this kind of cheese, it does not melt, right? It just stays nice and intact. That's why you see it in a lot of different savory applications like this. It doesn't melt, it doesn't get oozy. You have to do a very specific process to it to actually get cheese that melts. But the whole point is you have like these little proteiny, delicious, chewy bites. Guys, that's my Palak paneer. We've done it. I told you, that was a very simple, that was a really, really easy cook. At the end, we just kept stirring things. We added a bunch of spices. The rice has about 5 minutes on it. Is everybody excited to eat? Are you guys excited to try this dish? You better be, because I put a lot of love. I put a lot of care. I put a lot of attention into this. The kind that I want. I treat my food the way that I want to be treated, which is I give it a lot of attention and a lot of love. Okay? And then I start throwing money at it. I do throw a lot of money at cooking. Hoping somebody picks up on my signal, on my vibes that I'm putting out. Okay. I'm glad you're all excited. Is everybody excited? I want to hear yes, chef from everybody watching, because that's only a few of you. I want to hear yes, chef from all of you watching right now. The color is amazing, isn't it? It's this beautiful, beautiful, deep green. It's full of vegetables. It's full of spinach, an entire box of spinach. Guys, I am not messing around when it comes to food. I do not mess around. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Guys, we have about a few more minutes left on the rice itself, and then I'm going to show you all my beautiful rice. In fact, 17 minutes of cook time. The basmati is definitely cooked through, especially with that amount of liquid. I'm going to show you guys my beautiful rice. You guys want to see this rice? You want to see this rice? Again, you can cook it anywhere from like 17 or 20 minutes. That's my ballpark that I give. So, my curry, I'm going to just set it aside. Guys, my flame is still on just in case I need it. Look at my rice. Let's look at my beautiful rice. Look at that rice. Look at this gorgeous turmeric rice that we've done. Look at that rice. Look at that color. Okay, it does not need any more cook time. It's perfect. So we're going to, exactly a nameless. We're going to fluff it. We're going to mix it through, and we're going to let it sit for another 5 minutes. Okay, because those final few minutes of letting it sit is how you get rid of like that final toothsome bite in the center, and how you get everything to be nice and even. I do think I ended up burning my mustard seeds a little bit, but that's okay. It happens to the best of us. Guys, take it from me, lower heat on the mustard seeds next time. They're a little bit bitter because of it, but it's okay. And put a lid on it, and now we're just gonna let it chill out for 5 minutes. Hey, chat, we did it. We've made everything in front of us so far. So let's begin the plating. Let's begin the plating. So I have my Palak paneer. I'm just going to go ahead and get that into one beautiful bowl. Actually, let's do my cute bowls. Let's do my cute bowls for today. Let's do these guys. Okay, and this, guys, is in total maybe like 2 to 3 portions, depending on how much you actually want. Okay, and take it, and we're just gonna scoop it up. I'm going to give myself like 2 ladles of this stuff. Okay, excellent. Ah, my spatula fell on my stove. It stained everything. Oh no. I got my stove duty. Okay. Look at that palak. Beautiful. Oh, I forgot to add the parsley. I wanted to add the parsley to the rice. That was the whole point of the steaming stage. Gasp. Let's go ahead and do that really quickly. Back to the stove, guys. We gotta go back to the stove. Back to the stove we go. The whole point is I wanted to use up my excess parsley. I wanted to fold it in. I wanted to let it steam in there. Okay. So get some of that stuff in there. Some of that beautiful parsley. Take it and we're just going to fold it through the best we can. Okay. Okay, that's a lot better now. Thank you very much. Just fold it through into every single crevice. Get that rice nice and aromatic. And again, this isn't traditional by any means. I just had some parsley I wanted to use up, and this is a nice way of doing it. I love doing my herbed rices like this. Okay, we're going to give that a couple more minutes. Everybody, do we have any final questions before we plate and we eat it fully? The only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just put in a little splash of cream extra into my palak paneer. Because guess what? I want it creamy. I want that richness. I want that unctuousness, right? So just a little bit, world's teeniest, tiniest bit of cream going in. And then we're just going to do the world's tiniest little sprinkle of some parsley right on top. Just for a little bit of extra green. Just a little bit. A little teeny tiny bit. Okay. The rice has been chilling out. No, that's enough. That's enough parsley. We do not need more parsley. That's plenty of parsley. Okay. Chat. You guys ready for this recap? This is going to be one hell of a recap. We've made a pretty incredible dish today, and I'm very proud of it. Cute hair, why thank you. Okay. And let's go ahead and get that rice scooped out as well. Thank you, cowboy. I got a new haircut. I don't know, guys. Was the ponytail okay? Was the ponytail chill? I don't know if it was chill or not. Okay. And let's get some of the rice into a bowl. That is now appropriately steamed and just fluffed up and just allowed to rest for a little bit. Beautiful. Okay. Everybody, we have done it. We have completed everything that we need to today. Look at this homemade palak paneer. Look at this homemade palak paneer. Look how gorgeous it is. This is an entirely vegetarian meal that we've done today. Not vegan, but it is vegetarian. First, everybody, I want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you with me for being here on this journey. I appreciate every single one of you. Look at this palak paneer. Palak paneer, one of my favorite Indian dishes. It's full of spinach and it's full of cheese. Palak is spinach, paneer is cheese. It is a spinach cheese curry. We made our own cheese. That's right, I showed you how to make your own cheese at home. Because guess what? Store-bought paneer is inexplicably expensive. It has no right being that expensive. This is homemade paneer. So we took some milk, we heated it up to 190, we added in some vinegar and we let it separate. We strained it through a cheesecloth. We pressed and squeezed all that liquid out, spread it out, and got it nice and flat. I want you all to take a look. I want you all to look. Okay, I'm going to get some of the curry off of it. Look at my beautiful lumps of cheese in there, my beautiful homemade paneer. Everybody should get into the habit of doing their own paneer. It's so easy, it's so accessible, and it's so much cheaper than buying pre-made paneer. Next, we had this incredible spice blend. First, in some oil, we fried mustard seeds. We fried cumin seeds. We did this together. We fried mustard seeds. We fried cumin seeds. We also fried in some black cardamom. And then we added in some onions, we added some garlic ginger, we added in a charred and blended tomato that we charred and blended ourselves. We added garam masala, we added in some fenugreek, we let that cook, that's the gravy. And then we added blanched and pureed spinach and parsley. And that, my friends, is the palak paneer. We finished it with some fresh cream on top. We added in the paneer itself these beautiful chewy cubes of cheese. And then we also made this gorgeous turmeric rice. Look at this rice. We fried some mustard seeds, we fried some cumin seeds. We fried some onions, we fried some garlic ginger. We added the rice, we added the turmeric, we finished cooking it, and then we finished it with a bunch of fresh parsley as well. Look at my meal. Chat, let's have a bite. All vegetarian. I don't typically do vegetarian food on stream. And yes, this is Indian food indeed. Everybody, let's have a little bite. I'm just gonna have this. I just want to try the gravy by itself. Ready? Cheers. Oh. Let's have some of the gravy with some of the rice. That is pretty wonderful. That is flavorful. That is aromatic. That is creamy. That is delicious. It's super healthy. It's full of so much spinach. Guys, we used an entire box of spinach for this. Let's get some of the rice all together with the cheese now. Let's try the homemade cheese that we did. That homemade cheese is no joke. That homemade cheese is serious business. You know that, chat? Look at it. Homemade cheese. That is good. You can't not like this. It's healthy, it's delicious, it's vegetarian. I love Indian food to death, huh? Get some more of the gravy with the rice. Make your own homemade cheese. That was the point of this. I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to make your own homemade cheese. You should be doing it. Okay, everybody, that's been the stream. I wanted to say thank you for, having me. Thank you all for listening once again. Next stream is going to be this Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be uploading the new schedule for the next 2 weeks. If you have final questions, now is the time to ask me, because I am here to help you cook. It can be about food. It can be about what we made today. It can be about anything at all. I want to help you cook. If you haven't already done so, guys, please check out my Patreon. Type an exclamation mark Patreon in the chat, because I would like to be able to do this full time. I want to keep this free for everybody to watch, and in order to do so, those of you that have a little bit of extra money, it would go a really long way. Alternatively, you can also subscribe here on Twitch. You can type an exclamation mark tip. You can type an exclamation mark donate as well, if you would like. All of that stuff works. All that good stuff works too. Oh no. Ah! My music has stopped. I accidentally stopped my music. I did not mean to do that. Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you all for being here. Everybody, once again, next stream is going to be 5 p.m. Eastern time. This Sunday, coming Sunday. If you haven't already done so, by the way, also join my Discord, exclamation mark Discord. There you can get all the different updates that you would need for the next stream, for whatever else that you could possibly need. Let's go ahead and find somebody for us to raid. Let's see who is currently live right now. Which of my friends are live at the moment? Willow is live. We'll give Willow a little raid. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay, thank you all for being here. Sunday, 5 p.m. EST is going to be the next stream. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your Friday night. If you're going out or if you're getting in bed, just stay safe. Have a really good night. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for giving me so much attention. Yeah, I'm just happy to have all of you. So cheers, bye-bye, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.